It's time for Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. For the next 3 hours, it's high school basketball from across the Mountain State. Live from Marshall University, here's your host, Ryan Epling.
And we welcome you to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on this Friday, January the 19th, 2018. A week in West Virginia where there, quite frankly, weren't very many basketball games played. We've been just thawing out a little bit here throughout the majority of the Mountain State. Ryan Epling alongside Bill Cornwell and Joe Linville. Happy to have you tonight along with us on the program. And with fear of sounding like Steve Harvey before every family feud, which, by the way, Steve Harvey of West Virginia. Name.
Exactly.
We got a good one for you tonight. I don't know how he always says that and knows that because the game hasn't started yet, theoretically, at the beginning of the show. But we do have a great show for you tonight. Let's put it this way. I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm hanging in there. I had actually originally been like, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I think I'll take tonight off. I'll gather myself up and just kind of work on getting myself better for next weekend, be ready to go then. And then I saw the guest list, and I was like, I can't miss this. I got to be there.
I mean, this is like an Oprah special. I mean, we got great guests coming tonight, including Coach Governor, as we called him last week, or Governor Coach.
Yes, we will have the governor of the state of West Virginia, Coach Jim Justice, a little bit later on tonight in the program. And Joe, welcome back.
Good to be back.
I tell you, we go a week without Joe, and it's like, feels like it's been 2 weeks.
And my game even got canceled last week, so it was double disappointing, you know. So,
but you did say you hung in there and listened to us and watched us last week.
I watched the biggest part of the show last week. It's hard being on the other end, but I enjoyed it.
And it is the fastest 3 hours.
It is.
It's the fastest 3 hours of your week, fastest 3 hours in radio.
And realize, Ryan, that night, you know, we had several games played that night. That was the last night in the last week. We've had a significant number of basketball games played until tonight.
Well, I actually spoke with Wayne High School coach, or I didn't speak with him directly, but hearing from Wayne High School boys coach Sam Kokenauer this week, they hadn't picked up a ball since Thursday of last week because of the county's
no practice rule,
which is kind of new to Wayne County, as in they just started it in the middle of this season. So it's one of those situations where, you know, they then amended it a little bit to where Fridays you can go play a road game, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But nonetheless, there are a lot of schools and a lot of coaches and a lot of players who are in that exact same boat. Sometimes we bring up the examples of what we know, but we also know that many of you are going through that as well. Joe, before we get into the scores, because we are here to celebrate high school basketball and go through, the games that are being played tonight. It's the first night in, like I said, basically a week. There's been a full night of basketball played, but just a few games have been played over the course of the past week. I guess the main question for you right now is, I mean, how were things in Boone County over the course of the past 5 days, because you go from having a federal holiday on Monday to snow on Tuesday.
Well, at least we had school today.
There you go.
I know Wayne County was out today. I was kind of surprised about that.
They were.
But, you was talking about those kids that have not been in the gym. I was listening to the beginning of the Nitro Champville broadcast tonight. Kanawha County has a policy, no school, no practice, no nothing, even though, some of the other counties around will allow you to practice if, up to the coaches.
And that's obviously a county-by-county call, and everybody knows that their county faces its own separate and unique challenges from a geographical standpoint. And Bill, it's also a situation where, yes, there are a few city schools within the state of West Virginia, but not many. Most of these schools are having kids coming from rural areas that are on untreated 2-lane roads, if that sometimes. And
you imagine what some of the rural counties are dealing with. The one I always look at, and because I like to go visit Pocahontas County, love it there, and that is such a huge county. And it always just boggles my mind that those kids from all over that county have to go to that one school outside of Marlinton there and have to bus down there. And just imagine trying to get buses in the bad weather that they experience quite often in Pocahontas County. And I just use that as an example. And there are a lot of other counties like Pocahontas County in the state, and you can understand why they don't get buses out. You can understand why they don't have school. And to be fair, you probably shouldn't be playing basketball if you're not having school.
Probably the 2/3 east section of the state is pretty much in that same situation.
True.
I mean, you run up, the highlands from Bluefield right on up through Nicholas County and right on up to the, northern eastern panhandle.
Well, we've got a lot of games going on tonight. The Hatfield-McCoy shootout is in progress in Williamson. They haven't even started the late game yet. That's what's fantastic about that, and it's always a fun time down there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, we know you are here for scores, and it's time for our first check of the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. Looking for scores, look no more. Go to the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com score. Bill, we'll turn you loose with the boys' scores.
All right, let's hit the boys' scores real quick here. We do have a few finals. First off, the Independence Patriots, a big win tonight over the Valley Greyhounds by a score of 49-24. Let's see.
That's girls' score.
That's a girls' score. There we go. I'm up now. All right, here we go. In the Hatfield-McCoy shootout, we start off with scores from there. Ambassador Christian gets a 60-50 win over Phelps, Kentucky. Wyoming East beats Tulsa 87-41. Also in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout, halftime score, Mingo Central 2-point lead over Johnson Central 27-25. Steubenville Catholic this evening defeats Madonna Blue Dawn 72-46. North Marion a 51-49 winner over Liberty Harrison. Game just completed. Big one in the Cardinal Conference. It was Chapmanville going into Nitro to knock off the Wildcats 73-63. Obina Killen had 24 for Chapmanville in that one. End of the third quarter score, Weir losing to Brook 46-38. A halftime score, Bridgeport 45, Philip Barber 35. Also halftime, Charleston Catholic a 29-27 lead over the Oak Hill Red Devils. A really good game there. Also end of three, Elkins 38, East Fairmont 36. Final, Summers County beats Fayetteville 70-55. A halftime score, Hedgesville a 10-point lead over Spring Mill 37-27. Final, Wheeling Park beats John Marshall up in the Northern Panhandle 57-54. 60-54 win over the Lincoln County Panthers over the Man Hillbillies. Actually has an end of third county score. We do have a final on Logan. Big win at the Fieldhouse tonight down at Willie Acres Arena, beating Winfield 62-53. End of three, Martinsburg trailing Musselman. Kind of a surprise there, 52-40. Another halftime score, it was Parkersburg South leading Warren Local 27-21. A couple more finals, Ravenswood 80, Point Pleasant 44. It was Parkersburg over Ripley 85-36, and Bluefield beats Shady Spring 49-42.
Joe, we'll let you give all five girl scores.
Thank you, sir. It was the Independence Patriots with a win tonight over Valley Fayette 49-24. St. Joe, the Irish, defeated Bullitt East Kentucky by a score of 78-58. Paige Shy was with 26 points. Dina Gerald adding 18 for St. Joe. In another final, Wheeling Central defeats the Charleston Catholic Irish 38-29. The Big Reds of Parkersburg pull off a win over the Hurricane Redskins 63-44. And in another final, the Morgantown Mohegans defeats the University in a crosstown battle there in Morgantown 51-42. And the Morgantown ended the game on an 8-1 run. And that's a look at your Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard.
Thank you very much. And as you noticed, a night full of scores. We know a result of the game, but we don't have the score yet. Lawrence County, Kentucky did defeat the Tulsa girls tonight in a very close game over in Louisa. Short trip for Coach Rick Marone's ball club, but it was a 42-38 was the final in that one that Lawrence County got the win. And
still a struggle for Coach Marone and his girls this year.
Yeah, but they're still fighting.
Fighting.
That was a good game right down to the wire, and unfortunately for the Lady Rebels, they come up short tonight in that one. So, like I said, a lot of games going on tonight. There have been more than 350 games postponed in the state of West Virginia because of weather. So I want to say real quick before we go to the phone lines, big thank you to our staff behind the scenes who keep up with that as best they can. No one puts more work into it than they do. to try to keep up with the schedules. It's hard enough to keep up with the schedules when they're all played as scheduled, but then when you're talking about doing all these rescheduled games, they do a fantastic job of that. We do the very best we can with basketballnight.com, so you can always go there and check on the schedules. And those are to the best of our knowledge. If you see something that's wrong, let us know. We'll fix it. I mean, it's that simple. We're not too proud to say we need help. Anyway, but again, those guys behind the scenes do just a fantastic job of that. And they really are the heartbeat of this show in a lot of ways.
And Ryan, we were talking just before we went on the air. All these cancellations are going to lead, most likely, to a really busy February for teams, and we're looking at teams in many cases probably facing 3 games in a week, 4 games in a week. I've seen it.
All right.
A couple of years ago it happened.
I mean, let's be honest. You're going to have teams that, if the weather holds okay, are going to play 8 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a sprint here coming up. But, speaking of a lot of games at once, I don't know if there's a better place to be right now than the Williamson Fieldhouse for the Hatfield-McCoy shootout. Just kind of park yourself there for the day and watch basketball all day. That's not a bad life whatsoever. Mark Witt joins us now on the program. And Mark, I know you obviously have a lot to do with putting the Hatfield-McCoy shootout together. Still in day one, and some good games today, some good matchups as always, and just an opportunity for anyone who wants to just go sit and not have to deal with this cold weather. Just sit out and watch some basketball.
Well, you guys are so right. It's been a great day here, and we really appreciate Jeff Simpkins' law office for sponsoring this event for our kids. As you know, we got 20 teams from 3 states in here: West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and 5 of those games were today. And your cohort there, Fred Dameron, we couldn't do it without him, and with the blessing of the Williamson Park Board and the historical Williamson Fieldhouse here, where my brother worked many a year, and they've done a really good job on sprucing this place up. And I had a coach from Wyoming County come in. Wyoming East had been trying to get in this thing for quite some time, and refereed a lot of his games when he was in school up in Wyoming County. And he walked in and he said, "This is the first time I've been in this venue." And he said, "What a place for a high school basketball game." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Put me down both nights next year, Friday and Saturday."
Wow.
So it's we got good crowds. Got a heck of a ball game going on right now with Mingo Central and Johnson Central. Last year, Johnson Central got Mingo Central, and this is a rematch. And Mingo's up right now, probably about 8 points here in the fourth quarter.
And you still got another game to go after this one.
Oh, we do. We got Tug Valley and Believe Academy. Tug Valley's small and probably the hardest working team as far as playing effort out there that I've seen all year long. And Believe, I think they got one kid on a roster under 6'3". They're huge. These guys are all juniors too, and they're coached by a guy who went to school with me at Maitland, Randy Casey, and he coached over at Belfry, Kentucky. But in our first game today, Ambassador beat Phelps, and then we had Wyoming East against Tulsa. And Wyoming East was victorious in that game. And then a shocker in the third game at 6:30 tonight. We had Sheldon Clark, who starts 2 8th graders, 2 9th graders, and my understanding a junior. And they got the big 16 kid at Huggins, and everybody is high on, and Mark Klein. And they got upset tonight by Scott. Scott ended up beating almost 30 points. And then we have this game going on right now, and then we have Believe Academy in Tug Valley. It'll be our last game at 9:30, and we are running on time here at the Fieldhouse. And it'd be remiss to say we've got about 8 or 9 college coaches from Wesleyan to Pikeville here tonight. Mark Klein's up from Marshall. It's a blessing for these kids, an opportunity to be seen on that next level. Maybe hopefully get their schools paid for.
Boy, Mark's got to just be feeling memory lane there tonight, Mark. But I will ask you, it seems like you were able to get all your games in, and no one got hit by the no play or no school, no play rule tonight.
Right. We had one county there that we thought we were going to be affected, and I gave the superintendent a call, and he and I go back a long way. He used to coach when I was officiating. Well, I still officiate, but and just I explained the situation to him. He said there's no problem. It's after 2 p.m., so they're able to come.
Oh, good.
And tomorrow's a big day here. I mean, like you said, people can come and go. They get $8 to get you in, hand stamp, come and go all day long. What you want to do, go eat to restaurants, go look at the historical sites. And we have 8 games lined up here tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. So got some good basketball tomorrow. Got some really good D1 players out here on the floor. Got Glasgow coming in playing South Charleston. You got Phelps and Mann, East Ridge and Tulsa. Jillian playing Believe Academy. They've been wanting to play for 3 or 4 years and finally getting to go at it. Spring Valley down your way. He's got up West Side, who's got a nice ball club. 5:30, got an excellent ball game of Belford Pirates and the Logan Wildcats. At 7 p.m., you got the Tug Valley Panthers taking on Scott. They used to play every year during the regular season, don't play anymore, so that's a good chance for those 2 teams to get together. And then our nightcap tomorrow night would be Sheldon Clark against Bingo Central. So it's just an exciting day here. It's good for our community. It's good for this field house to have these type of crowds because, back in the old Williamson and Logan days and Williamson and Maitland days, they would pack this thing out. But, and then Huntington would come up. So now you get to relive some memories. You get to see all the old coaches who are retired here. My former coaches here today, and just talking about the battles that we had here in this place. A lot of history in this field house, from Jerry West to I guess Mark Klein, Anthony Strather, and all that bunch. But you start naming names, you make people mad. And I don't want to do that.
You left me out, Coach.
Hey, Mark, we know you've got a lot of basketball still to be played tonight and a good game going on right now. We'll let you get back to that, but we greatly appreciate you taking your time out to talk with us. And I'll say this on your behalf. I think you'll be okay with me saying this as well. Any coaches out there listening, if you get a chance, try to get in this event at least once. At least once, do it. It's definitely something that's worth your while.
It is 16 years running, and we just continue to grow. We got more teams wanting to come than we can accommodate, but we're always looking for good teams who want to come up and showcase their talent and visit the Hatfield-McCoy area up here and make it an educational trip for these kids. So, and we really appreciate you guys on Basketball Friday night promoting this and letting people know. There's been several people walk through the door and said they listened to the show last Friday on my way back from my ball game at Westside, and there's a reason they're here. So, what you guys are doing, there's not a dollar value you can do, not only for an event like this, but for our kids in the state of West Virginia. So I really appreciate what you guys do.
We appreciate you as well. That's Mark Witt of the Hatfield-McCoy Shootout going on right now at the Williamson Fieldhouse. We thank him so much for joining us tonight. We've got to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we will continue on our venture of a week with very little basketball, but we'll also relive a couple of games that were played where some teams that were highly thought of went down to defeat. We'll talk about that when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Jaden Lindsay, East Fairmont Bees, Jacob Clark, Riverside Warriors, Cole Honecker, Shady Springs Tigers, Sidney Nestor, Tucker County Mountain Lions, and Isaiah Morgan, Ravenswood Red Devils. What they all have in common is they were selected by Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as the Standout Athlete of the Week. And tonight, you'll meet a new Standout Athlete of the Week. If you have someone remarkable on your team or an athlete that made an outstanding play, you can nominate your team's players to become the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com, click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab, fill out the nomination form. We'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Mountain State's voice for all things high school basketball. Give us a call, toll free, 855-784-6677, 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter, and a shout out to some of our newest Twitter followers, including Cassie Wright, Virgil Lee Davis, Chris Way, Clayton B., Linda C. Gray, Jane Ely, Jackie Son, Rick Bailey, and Lauren Fields. They're all part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Join us.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
9:20 on this basketball Friday night in West Virginia. The warmest day we've had all week.
I loved it.
I mean,
it's going to get warmer tomorrow and Sunday.
I remember how excited I was about noon today when the temperature got above freezing. It was fantastic. And, we joke around about this. We'll talk a lot more about our some of the games that have gone on this week. And two games that happened back on Monday really stick out to me. We'll talk about those more in depth in just a moment. But as many of you know, I work overnights. So I go into work about midnight. And I remember just, this morning going into work and finally not as cold.
Right.
It was 17. I mean,
it was a relief compared to the single-digit temperatures from the 2 nights previous. Yeah.
And to tie this all together, though, that puts a lot of strain on heating systems in schools and in gymnasiums. So we know that a lot of, it's been an uphill battle for a lot of schools over the past week to get their days in and be able to heat the school and heat their gymnasiums to have practice even for that cause as well. But just wanted to go back a little bit earlier this week. We've talked on this program throughout the course of the year about the Wyoming East girls team and how they were off to and are off to a spectacular start to their season. And we're about the halfway point. We're beyond the start of the season. They're having a great season. They were nationally ranked by Max Preps in the top 100. You can argue about the validity of a Max Preps ranking, and that's fine. But it's just what you take from that is not the number beside the name. It's that someone thinks they're good, and they're right. They are good. Wyoming East went to Parkersburg and was beaten soundly Monday.
Yeah.
And Parkersburg's girls obviously a team that we haven't talked about a whole lot specifically at this point this year. That's one that, quite frankly, we need to do a little bit better job of. And we kind of audit ourselves throughout the course of the week sometimes. Is like, who are we not talking about out there that's having a good year? And that just brought to mind that, we really haven't talked a lot about the girls at Parkersburg High School and the job that they've been doing. They have a new coach this year, and they are, last year I thought they were really good, and they didn't quite get as far as what they wanted to. But this year, 8-2 now, winners of 3 consecutive games, and the Big Reds, though, like I said, they're having a good year and certainly are deserving of at least being talked about here on the program. They have wins over Waterford, Ohio, Huntington, who's trying to rebuild itself, but Wheeling Park is a good team. They beat Riverside by 38 earlier this year. Did lose by 27 to Buchanan Upshur. We all know Buchanan Upshur is really good. And the thing about girls basketball, and I think you guys have followed it closely enough to agree with me, and Joe, I'll pose this question to you more so in this regard. Girls basketball can be tricky in that 2 good teams can play, and if one team plays well, they will beat the other by a lot, and they could play the next night and have the exact opposite result. And it seems like in girls basketball, you can get those wild swings perhaps a little bit more than in boys.
I've noticed that in the past, and you wonder why. I guess it's just the complexity of the makeup. And I hate, and I'm not trying to be a sexist, but the females, and how they react to situations and so forth. I know it seems like girls get a little more frustrated quicker than maybe the boys do, and that may be part of it as well. But you're right. I've seen it happen before, back-to-back nights, and it'd be 20-point one night and 20-point swing the other way the next night.
Now to tie this back in, also though. I'll save you here a little bit, Joe. I'll throw you the life rafter.
Thank you.
Girls are way more mature than boys are in high school.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah.
But, you just never know what you're going to get. I think the consistency seems to be varying at times A lot of girls teams in our state require or rely on their defense to turn teams over and create easy baskets. And if they don't get those, maybe they don't shoot well one night. Other team takes care of the ball, and all of a sudden you've got a 15-point spread in a game that would normally be one you would think would go down to the wire. But I just wanted to bring that up. Parkersburg did win that game. They also beat Parkersburg South back on December 30th. So that's a team to keep an eye on. They beat Wyoming East by 18, though, 69-51. And, Bill, I know that the MSAC is rugged. I know there are many people that felt that this Wyoming East team might be the best team regardless of class. They still might be, but that night they weren't. And it just shows that any given night in West Virginia, you have to bring your A game or you will get beat and perhaps beaten soundly.
Exactly. And I'm like Joe, it just seems like there's certain nights that some people got it, some people don't. And that's the consistency I know causes coaches to pull hair out because there's no consistency, and but that is surprisingly how soundly Wyoming East lost. Now, I mean, Parkersburg, they have had a very tough program in AAA over the years. They've been very representative, a lot of state tournament appearances, but you just didn't see this coming with Wyoming East.
And let's go right back to the phone lines right now as our buddy Chris Kidd, WVOW Radio in Logan. Logan and Winfield played tonight. Earlier this week, actually go back to Saturday, Winfield had a big win, handing Nitro their first loss of the season. Logan, on the other hand, was kind of reeling a little bit. Wildcats haven't been playing well. Tonight, Willie Acres Arena, Wildcats beat the Generals because that's how basketball works in the state any given night. Chris Kidd joins us now on the program. And Chris, you knew Logan wouldn't stay down long. They weren't playing well. And there's always that line of where do they stop playing, not up to expectations, and then where do they reach expectations? And tonight, that was the type of effort that I think most people thought you would get from Logan night in, night out this year.
Yeah, and the fact they had lost 3 straight games in a row and then went to double overtime with Polka, who's been struggling this year, and were able to eke that out by 1 point. I think a lot of people were curious, is this a team that's just starting to regress? Are they not going to get any better than this? And, in the first quarter of the game tonight, it kind of looked like that was the case. Again, they were taking some tough jumpers. Again, it's a Winfield team that's only allowed over 60 points one time this year. That was Wyoming East, and now tonight they did. But Logan was down 15-9. Then all of a sudden, in the second quarter, they picked up the pace. They played stronger defense, and they took the lead in the half. Then Winfield came out in the third, and they got the lead back. But it was the fourth quarter where Logan started to pull away, and David Early just went off in the fourth quarter. He had 29 in the game. He had 17 in the fourth quarter, which really helped Logan get away with that win. And I think that was just a huge win to turn the season around for them after they'd gotten that West Side win a few weeks earlier. And, after that tough 2 or 3 week stretch, I think Logan now feels like maybe they're starting to get a little bit of momentum heading towards the meat of their schedule here in the middle part.
Logan needed a win, and they got it. And, hadn't been playing up to par, but I know that there are obviously factors involved in that go beyond what you see on a scoreboard, so to speak. So Logan now with that win over Winfield tonight, they turn around right around tomorrow. They're in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout, the Williamson Fieldhouse against Belfry, Kentucky. That will be a good game. For those who don't know, Belfry, Kentucky is actually located less than 1.5 miles from Williamson on the Kentucky side. So it's a lot shorter trip for the Pirates over there to the Williamson Fieldhouse. But, Logan playing a game in the Williamson Fieldhouse, Chris, there's something special about that.
Oh, it is. I mean, if you go in there, like in the battles of the field house, you can still find a couple of old pictures from back in the 1970s, whenever Logan played some of those just monumental games where it was jam-packed. Still remember my father, telling me about a lot of the games. Still remember he told me one about one of Logan's players breaking the backboard in the pregame and dunk line, and then they had to wait an extra hour to get another basket in there to play. And, it just conjures up a lot of old fun memories for a lot of people. And to be honest, that is actually my favorite place to go and announce a game at. I mean, you can just feel the history there, and it's so cool that they still have those tournaments there. And I'm going to basically be living there tomorrow. I should come up there and pitch the tent I'm doing Man versus Phelps, Kentucky at 10 a.m. I'm doing Logan and Belfry at 5 o'clock. And then me and your boy over there, Joe Linville, we're going to be there. We're getting the band together tomorrow night at 7 for Tug Valley Scott. I'm excited. Are you excited, Joe?
Absolutely. It's what I was getting ready to say, that you'll pretty much be camped out at the field house tomorrow. Some good games today, and looking forward for a whole slate of games again tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be tearing up the concession stands. I'm going to be taking up everybody's bleacher seats. I'm going to be all over that place tomorrow. They're going to have to throw me out. I don't know. I may not be there by the time you get there. They may throw me out by then.
I was just getting ready to say we may need to call Mark Whitback and make sure that they have the concessions like excessively well stocked, because Chris Kidd's coming to do some damage tomorrow.
Oh, I'm going to the ATM before I head over there. It'll be cash straight up.
Back to tonight's game real quick. Winfield really looked strong in that third quarter. Your thoughts on it as Coach Green got his team settled down, and like you said, Logan pulled it out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and a lot of that's due to Braden McGrew. I mean, they're a very senior-laden team. Got to see them. They played Chapmanville in the regional final last year and kept that close for a while before Chapmanville pulled away. But, I mean, McGrew, he may not be the quickest kid on the court, but he's so shifty. He's able to create. So if he had 25 tonight on his own and really dominated that game in the first and third quarter, and he can run that offense so soundly for them. It's just Winfield, they really kind of got into Logan's game late in the third quarter, where things got a little helter-skelter. It was more of a back-and-forth game. They couldn't really set up their defense or their offense the way they wanted to. And I feel like if Chris Stevens had a chance to do that game again, he'll definitely do it a little bit different than what had gone on. And they may get a chance to see Logan again. I think tonight, with Logan and Winfield and then Chapmanville and Nitro, which is also a really good game for a long time, we were watching that on our phones for video productions, and Chapmanville was able to eke that game out. I mean, those could be two games that could be a preview of the regional final matchups to go to the state tournament here in about a month and a half.
Chris Kidd, WVOW Radio. Thanks so much for calling. Sorry I didn't come through for you on the meal there a couple weeks ago, but I promised you I wouldn't, so it's not like I said I would, so it's all good.
Hey, no apologies for telling me the truth. That's fine.
There you go.
I'm going to make it up tomorrow at the field house.
Get you a good night's sleep and get ready for tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be ready for you, Joe. You guys be careful.
All right, that's Chris Kidd, WVOW Radio. Logan beats Winfield tonight at the Willie Acres Arena at the Logan Fieldhouse. We'll step aside, take a break, come back. We will have a scoreboard update as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues. This is Break 2 along the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be on Friday nights after the game. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Does showing up for work at a ballpark or an arena sound good to you? A Marshall University sports journalism degree can get you there. Sports journalism at Marshall is important. It's serious and it's big business. Sports media and communications careers are some of the most competitive and marketable worldwide in a multi-billion-dollar industry. We'll prepare you to think critically, report accurately, and artfully tell the stories on and off the field or court. If this sounds like you, the Marshall School of Journalism is ready and eager to start your journey. Learn more at marshall.edu/SOJMC. Streaming video live from the studios at Marshall University, visit basketballnight.com for video, audio, and the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. Many places to listen and watch Basketball Friday Night. We'll tell you about all of our radio affiliates later, but you can go to basketballnight.com through our affiliates page at the bottom of basketballnight.com, and you can find the station nearest you. You can also watch us on our high-definition video on YouTube. Go to basketballnight.com, just click to watch. On Facebook Live, go to RSN Sports Facebook page to watch us on Facebook Live. And we're on Periscope. We're on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. And on cable, if you have Suddenlink, we're on Suddenlink's Network West Virginia, statewide. In the Huntington area, we're on Comcast Channel 25. It's Basketball Friday night in West Virginia.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
9:35 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville with you. Happy to have you along with us here on, I lost track, 6, 7 shows.
We're just 7.
This is week 7.
Week 7, yeah.
And out of 15, which means that at 10:30 next Friday night, we'll be halfway through the season again, and it's just incredible how that goes.
Marching our way to the postseason, really.
Right, and the thing is, when we say halfway through the season, we literally mean we go right up until semifinal Friday night of the boys' state tournament, and that's 2 weeks beyond sectional tournament play. So we're closing in on that.
Yeah.
I mean, girls' sectional tournament play comes up in, about a month now, and the boys start the next week.
Yep.
Yeah. So we are not too far away from all of that, but we know you are here to get scores. We've got a lot of them, a lot of games being played throughout the state of West Virginia tonight. So it's time for another check of the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard.
Looking at scores on the boys' side across the great state of West Virginia. And the West Virginia Hometown Invitational, it was Pocahontas over Wirt County, 71-54. Also in that same tournament, Ritchie County over Doddridge County, 75-69. From Williamson in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout, it was Ambassador Christian picking up the win over Phelps, Kentucky, 60-50. Wyoming East pick up a win tonight in that tournament over Tulsa, 87-54. It was in, now we have a final. Mingo Central has defeated Johnson City in the late game there, where there's still one more to go in that Hatfield-McCoy shootout. The Miners win it by a score of 66-46. Steubenville, Ohio defeated the Madonna Blue Dons, 72-46. It was Oak Glen over East Liverpool, 58-50. The North Marion Huskies defeat Liberty Harrison tonight, 51-49. It was a tight one there in Nitro tonight. Chattanville Tigers pick up the win, knock off the Nitro Wildcats, 73-63. Avina Killen, 24 points to lead the Tigers. It's at the end of third quarter, it's the Brook Bruins over Weir, 46-38. And another final, Philip Barber picks up, it's Bridgeport over Philip Barber tonight, 83-70. Buchanan Upshur picks the win up over Robert C. Byrd, 67-51. Charleston Catholic at the half leads Oak Hill, 29-27. It was East Fairmont over Elkins tonight, 63-53. Fairmont Senior picks up another big win, 74-42 over the Lincoln Cougars. Summers County victorious over Fayetteville, 70-55. And a final, Grafton picks up a 5-point win over Preston, 57-52. And a game that was supposed to be a good one, it was Hedgesville picking up the win tonight over Spring Mills, 59-58. Cameron, the Red Dragons, over Hundred, 77-31. Mercer Christian picks up a win over Independence, 60-55. Wheeling Park picks up a win tonight, 57-54 over the John Marshall Monarchs. John Marshall's Gunnar Thompson went over the 1,000 point in his career there at John Marshall. Riverview winners tonight over Liberty Raleigh, 70-60. We're going into overtime on this one, the second overtime at that. There should be a final on that one. Lincoln County did pick up the win tonight over the Man Hillbillies. We need to get that one corrected. It was Logan victorious over Winfield tonight, 62-53. Martinsburg falls to the Musselman Appleman, 74-58. Princeton Tigers picks up a win tonight over Mount View, 51-45. Parkersburg South victorious over Warren Local of Ohio, 57-50. Ravenswood picks up a win tonight over Point Pleasant, 80-44. Parkersburg victorious over the Ripley Vikings, 85-36. Webster County, the Highlanders over Roane County, 76-64. You had 5 Webster County players that ended up with double figures in scoring. And the Bluefield Beavers picks up a win tonight over Shady Spring by a score of 74-65.
We have quite a few more girls scores.
Yeah.
Bill, I'll take this one
Okay.
for you. I'll give you a break here on this.
All right.
Girls scores that are in tonight. Independence defeats Valley Fayette 49-24. It was Cameron picking up an 81-46 victory over Frontier, Ohio. St. Joe, behind Marshall University commit Paige Shy, defeats Bullitt East Kentucky 78-58. Shy with 26 points in the win for the Irish. Also tonight, Midland Trail defeats Oak Hill 68-47. Wheeling Central, a winner over Charleston Catholic 38-29. The Parkersburg Big Reds go to 9-2 with a 63-44 victory over Hurricane. Van beats Paden City tonight in the West Virginia Hometown Invitational. Long trip for Paden City out of Wetzel County down to Boone County for that one, but the Van Bulldogs get the win 43-29. Lawrence County, Kentucky defeats Tulsa tonight in the Roundhouse in Louisa 42-38. The host Bulldogs get the win. Cabell Midland defeats Woodrow Wilson 50-48. A great game at the Castle. The Knights now 11-2. And Morgantown defeats University tonight 51-42 as the Mohegans end that game on an 8-1 run to pick up the 9-point victory. That's your check of the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard.
Ryan got a score just in. The Sherman Tide fell to Midland Trail tonight by a score of 56-54.
And that was a boys game.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. A lot of games going on tonight. As we mentioned, there were a lot of cancellations throughout the week. Another game, though, from earlier this week that really caught the attention of a lot of people. It was a big matchup in Fairmont. And it's interesting because Fairmont Senior and Mingo Central are nowhere near each other on the map, but they continue to run into one another in various sports. They met in the football state title game in 2016. Mingo Central got that win. They met in the AA semifinals in basketball. Fairmont Senior got that win. Fairmont Senior beat them in the football semifinals this year. And then they met again this past week. It's a game that was expected to be a really good one, and it really wasn't. Fairmont Senior beat Mingo Central 93-37.
Wow.
At the Fairmont Armory earlier this week. So if there were any doubts about the Polar Bears, which I don't think there really have been, but 93-38 was the final in that one. No more. I mean, that's yes, Mingo Central is still trying to kind of get to full strength, still trying to get healthy, but that's a score that I'm not surprised that Fairmont Senior won, but Joe Linville, not in that manner.
The spread, I was shocked as well. I don't know. I haven't talked to the Mingo Central coach or anybody from down that way, but that was definitely a shocker the other night.
And certainly one that, again, a big win there. Another big game that we were just talking about, a boys game, we'll talk much more about as we go on throughout the night. We've talked about trying to sort things out in the Eastern Panhandle. A lot of those schools play out-of-state schools early in their schedule, and then they start playing each other, into December and into January. And tonight, Musselman holds serve at home and hands Martinsburg a 16-point loss. And that's a surprise in terms of not a shock because Musselman is good,
But they are
but
good.
it is a surprise because Martinsburg hadn't been beaten like that by an Eastern Panhandle team this year.
Martinsburg had been rolling, and it was interesting to hear what our guys up in the Panhandle have to say a little later this evening because, pretty much they were all in agreement. Well, Martinsburg's the best team up here. It was pretty clear, but not tonight.
Not tonight.
Cause will be all over that one.
Oh, yeah.
And as we've talked about, though, and this is, to me, this is very important, it is really any given night. And, I think back through some of the great upsets in West Virginia high school postseason history, and one that really sticks out to me because I understood it as it happened, because it happened when I was in high school, was when there was a Baileysville team that was ranked number 1 in Class Single A. Baileysville now gone, part of Westside High School, after combining with Oceana. But Baileysville had been rolling along. Gilbert had won 1 game all season until its final game, and they beat Wayne on Wayne's senior night. And Gilbert then upset Baileysville in the postseason. And that was it. There was no, that was before you had the opportunity to lose a sectional final and then go play in a regional game. And like we said, you play all these games, but really those are the ones that truly count. Although I will say every game matters due to the seeding now that is done within the state of West Virginia. So I think they've done a good job of making the regular season important and making the postseason as fair as they can at this point. Yes, we would all like to see certain things tweaked a little bit, but from a logistics standpoint, I think it's a reasonable postseason alignment. But we'll see how things go throughout the course of the year. So like I said, any given night, Martinsburg had been the best team in the Eastern Panhandle. Musselman was the better team tonight.
This will give Dave Rogers something to work with.
Yes.
he'll have some practice material and some off the tapes and off of just their performance this evening.
You like to learn from a win, but sometimes it takes a loss to really get someone's attention, and this time of the year you can afford that. We're going to step aside, take a break. We'll come back with more of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. This is Break 3 along the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Every Friday night from 9 to midnight, we're the home for high school basketball in the Mountain State. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. High school basketball action in West Virginia is heating up as teams focus on a trip to the state championship in Charleston. Stay up to date with your local team and its progress all season long with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia for 3 hours every Friday night from 9 to midnight. Listen online or on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. Hear sports writers, broadcasters, coaches, players, and your calls recapping your team's game. Visit basketballnight.com for more details on how you can become part of the show. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Thanks to everyone tonight that's called, sent texts, tweets, and emails. We really appreciate you being part of the show and helping us cover all high school basketball throughout West Virginia. Join us on the phone tonight. Share your team's game. 855-784-6677. 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. You can text the show 304-249-4924. Text the show with scores 304-249-4924. Go to our website, check out the scoreboard, and find out how you can connect with the show tonight at basketballnight.com. A shout out to some of our newest followers on Twitter, including Reese Stevenson, William Brooks, Charlie Haley, Gina Neville, Cullen, Joe Priest, Malin, Xavier Crothers, and Bennett Jackson. They're all part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
9:48 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as we move now to 9:49. Ryan Epling, Bill Cornwell, and Joe Linville. Happy to have you with us here from the cozy confines of the WMUL studios at Marshall University. So kind to host this program here on the brand new set. And by brand new, I mean this is the second week that we've used this set now. Built by our own Mike the Hammer Stanley, who is a Guyan Valley High School graduate. Always appreciate the work that they do behind the scenes. And, you know, Marshall University being a school that obviously brings in kids from across, you know, all over the place. But this show in particular is basically populated by West Virginians. We've got Marcus Constantino, who does a lot for the program. He's a Bluefield High School graduate. The faculty advisor at WMUL-FM is Dr. Chuck Bailey, who is a Mann High School graduate. Bill, obviously, Cerrito Canova. Joe, Scott High School.
Right.
Behind the scenes, we've got Kyle Powers. He went to Wayne.
Out Wayne.
Oh, should have known.
Exactly, right? And then I'm a Wayne High School graduate too. So it's just so nice to have so many West Virginians who all take a part in this program.
Ron, speaking of the set, with the new set, we got room for some more jerseys. So if any of the schools across the state would like to send us a jersey, we'll be glad to add it to our collection here on the set.
Absolutely, and we've got so many that I've actually lost track in terms of trying to just name them. I can't do it anymore without looking at all of them.
And there's a few that are missing.
Right.
Paul.
Well,
we lost Paul.
We're working on getting some more Paul gear in here.
And believe me, I had comments that they enjoyed the schools that aren't in existence anymore. So maybe if we got a few contributions, maybe Buffaloes or CKs, Vincent's, and I mean,
there's been a ton of mergers over the years.
We can find some of those schools that no longer exist.
I have a Gilbert Lyons sweatshirt at home.
Oh my!
I may break that thing out here at some point over the course of time. Tonight's not that night, by the way, but you just never know.
Milton Greyhounds, maybe, something like that.
There you go, yeah. There are so many, and we've lost so many schools to consolidation over the past 25, 30 years. It's really changed the landscape of basketball and just of sports and just schools in general and communities in general, because quite frankly, when you take the school out of the community tends to dry up, and that's just how it is. Sorry.
That's all right.
Sometimes I have to go on my little
your rant.
Well, I won't say it's a rant. It's just an observation. Joining us now on the program is Michael Johnson. He's the head coach at Grafton High School of the boys basketball team there, the Bearcats. Coach Johnson joins us now. Coach, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Hey, thanks, guys. How are you guys this evening?
We're doing well, staying warm. Happy to finally have a night with some basketball, but I do want to ask, how rough has it been getting games in this week?
We've only missed one game this week. We actually played on Monday at Buchanan, so obviously we're in school for Martin Luther King Day. So we were out. We were able to play on Monday. We weren't in school Tuesday or Wednesday, so we missed a game of the offense on Wednesday night. We were able to get back to school yesterday, and then we went on the road tonight and played at Preston. So we only missed one game this week, and matter of fact, we've been able to make up games that we've missed. We just have to reschedule the offense game so far. So we've done pretty well getting through the snow a little bit.
Your team picked up a 57-52 win tonight at Preston. Tell me a little bit about how your team was able to come out on top tonight.
We were a young basketball team. We knew coming in it was going to be a work in progress through the majority of the basketball season. We've been telling the boys day in and day out, we don't have to be good early in the season, but we got to kind of find that peak towards late January. And we've turned that corner a little bit. I won't say that we've peaked or anything like that, but we were able to do some good things tonight. We were able to speed them up at times and turn them over. We made some shots tonight, which we haven't done, consistently through the course of the year. But we have good moments, we have bad moments. We play good stretches, and we play a couple rough. We play 2 or 3 minutes where we don't play very smart, and our inexperience shows at times. But we were able to kind of put it together and finish down the stretch tonight, in some way with a win.
Coach, several of your games, I'm looking back over your schedule for the season. You've lost some really tight ball games against some good teams.
We have. We've competed. I told the boys, I'm tired of coming to the locker room after games telling you, hey, you've competed. You got to find a way to get over that hump and to get some W's down the stretch. We had a 7-point lead against Ripley early in the year with 3 minutes to go and up get beat by 1. We were up by 5 against East Fairmont with 5 minutes to go and up get beat by 5. We had a 10-point lead in the first half against Bridgeport and then get beat. So, we were competing, and I think that sometimes our inexperience in a tight game comes to the forefront. We only really have one senior that starts. We start a sophomore and some juniors, and a freshman that plays a lot of varsity minutes as well with some other sophomores. So, we knew coming in that it was going to be a process, and we just got to find a way, confidence-wise, to get over that hump. And when we've been able to do that, we've been able to execute, especially down the stretch, which has kind of given us a little bit of confidence.
Monday, you're at home against Petersburg. Wednesday, you're at home against Fairmont Senior. things start to pick up again a little bit here in the coming week.
It does. Playing in the Big Ten, it's probably one of the best AA conferences in the state, with the Cardinal Conference. And, you don't get any nights off. I was talking to my assistants here. We're on our way back to Preston right now that, you look at the conference, and with the exception of Fairmont Senior, everybody's kind of on the, it's kind of a level playing field, which is why a lot of the games are so close night in and night out. And Phil Barber's got a nice team as well. But it is tough. It's like running the gauntlet when you get in the conference play, and, going here and there. And then, we picked up those teams in the Panhandle because they're in our section. And then those have been good games in the last couple of years as well. So, there's no easy nights, that's for sure. If you don't show up and ready to play, whether you're the top team in the conference or the bottom team in the conference, you could be tested every night. So we stress that, knowing coming in that it's a grind. It is definitely a grind.
Grafton High School boys basketball coach Michael Johnson, congratulations on your victory tonight at Preston. Safe travels home, and best of luck.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, and guys, let's talk about this for a moment. If you haven't been to Grafton, Grafton's a tricky place of the winter.
It is.
You go in there and it's
great little town.
It's a fantastic little town, and that town supports its schools.
It does.
And does a fantastic job of that. But you go in there, and it's like you see this wall of a mountain, and you see homes and parts of the town built up the side, and it's just an interesting and unique situation and town there in Taylor County, West Virginia, and certainly, it's just a nice little West Virginia town.
And of course, if you remember your West Virginia history classes, it's the Mother's Day town. It's the town where the observance of Mother's Day was basically started by Anna Jarvis. So there's a lot of history there. And I was about to mention, Coach, there, of course, we had in the studio a couple weeks ago a proud Grafton alumnus and Randy Lee, the voice of the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. So we know that the Bearcats have some out there watching and paying attention. I'm sure Randy'd be happy that they won tonight.
I think there are a lot of people out there who might not realize just how many people do keep track of their alma maters, and maybe they don't get to make it to games. They know how they're doing. They keep an eye on how their season is progressing. So certainly appreciate Coach Johnson taking time out to talk with us tonight after the Bearcats pick up their second win of the season.
And Coach Johnson is lucky because it looks like the Elkins game is the only one they've lost so far.
Yeah, due to weather. Yes.
Due to weather.
Yes. And so let me regather myself here. We're going to step aside, take our fourth break 4 here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. When we come back, we expect to hear from the governor. The coach of the Greenbrier East Spartans girls team, they're undefeated. Lots to talk about with him when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Special thanks tonight to all of our affiliates. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including our newest affiliates, 103.7 Jack FM, WQWV in Fisher, the Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM, WKKX in Wheeling, and 1370 AM, WVLY in Moundsville. We're also on Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel, Singing News Radio 92.5 FM, WTHM LP, Ravenswood, Ripley. Knights Radio 91.5 FM, WRSG in Middleburn. Talk Radio, WRNR, Martinsburg, 740 AM, 106.5 FM. Classic Hits 106, WHFI in Linside, 106.7 FM. We're also on 95, the Sports Fox, WBES in Charleston, 950 AM, and 101.9 FM and 1290 AM, WVOW in Logan. Light Rock, 93R, WRRR, St. Mary's, 93.9 FM. The Ticket, 102.3 FM, WMTD in Hinton, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZ LP, Edmond, Beckley. 101.7 FM, WYAPLP in Clay, and Marshall University's flagship station, 88.1 FM, WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers can find Basketball Friday Night in the Huntington region on Comcast Channel 25, and we're also statewide on Suddenlink's Network West Virginia. We're also streaming online high-definition video. You can find that on our website, basketballnight.com.
Welcome back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. To join tonight's program, call 855-78-HOOPS. That's 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup for all the scores all the time. And visit basketballnight.com for a comprehensive look at schedules and standings for every team in the state. Stay tuned. Another hour of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia begins right now.
10 o'clock on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville with you. Happy to have you along here wherever you may be tonight, be it on Network West Virginia, on one of 20 great radio stations throughout the state of West Virginia, on RSN Sports online, on basketballnight.com, on Channel 25, Comcast in Huntington. Anyway that you may be with us, we certainly appreciate having you with us tonight. A lot of games going on tonight, as we mentioned over the course of the past week. Not many got to be played. The schedule today, and quite frankly tomorrow too, is full. I think there are more Saturday games tomorrow than what we've had perhaps the entire season to this point, and you got to get them in when you can.
Well, you got a couple tournaments going on, and the hometown invitational. You got the Hatfield McCoy shootout, and like you said, there's probably some teams making up some games that they've missed because of snow.
Now we will get you a scoreboard update in just a moment. We'll also speak with head coach Julianne Buckley of the Hampshire girls basketball team in a moment as well, and we will have special guest here in just a minute. But Bill, as someone who lives in a county that has seemingly kind of becoming, I don't know if I want to say more flexible, but it's kind of changed its outlook on the no school, no play, no practice, etc. In Wayne County, where that was not a factor before this year. It kind of suddenly became one this year.
Yeah.
And then there were some exceptions made as well. It can be difficult for coaches and players alike.
Yeah, it's really a tough time right now for these coaches because we're getting toward the end of January and things are starting to stack up because let's face it, guys, a month from now we're starting postseason. And there's not going to be a time, especially if you had 2 or 3 games scheduled this week and you couldn't get them in. It's a mess. Looks from what we've seen so far tonight, though, kind of lucky. Looks like maybe 1 game, 2 at the most lost, and hopefully you can find a way to make those up.
The Greenbrier East Spartans girls team is 10-0 this season, and so when you have a team that's doing that well, you want to get the coach or a player on, or we'll talk with their coach in just a moment. But he's also the governor of West Virginia. Jim Justice joins us now on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, and I can't help it. I feel like I need to call you Coach still.
Coach works great with me, guys.
Coach, your ball club, we'll talk about state matters a little bit in a moment, but your ball club 10-0 on the season. And I know this was a year where you made a decision to, quote unquote, cut back a little bit as you resigned as boys coach. Bimbo Cole's now the boys coach at Greenbrier East. So now you're handling the girls basketball program there while also being the governor. And we've talked about balancing that in the past. But with a 10-0 start, you have to be really proud of how they're playing right now.
Well, I am proud of them. They're really young. There's only one senior on the team, and she's working hard and everything. She's getting a little bit of playing time, but there's many times we've got 2 freshmen and 3 sophomores in the game, and so so the kids worked hard. You know, they kind of surprised me in the beginning because I looked at them and I thought, you know, Dad, they're going to be pretty daggone good. And then all of a sudden, you know, when you started breaking it down, you know, they weren't shooting the ball very well, and they weren't rebounding the ball, and you know, in all honesty, they just needed a lot of work, and so they've put in the work, and they've been in the weight room, you know, 3 or 4 days a week, and they're just getting better every game, and so I don't know really exactly how far they can go, but you know, I really believe they've got a legitimate chance to win it. You know, they just you know, we've got decent size and got a lot of speed, and they're beginning to shoot the ball better, and they can put a lot of pressure on a lot of people. So it's they're the real deal. I mean, that's all there is to it.
And you had a chance at the State of the State address to have the girls basketball team there and to be a part of that. And I thought it was really neat to be able to include them, because that's a memory that those girls will take with them for the rest of their lives.
Well, they will. I mean, you know, that's for sure. But I wanted to send a message with it too. I mean, you know, these kids, you know, it is so important that we believe in West Virginia, you know, just how good we really are, and that we do have a shot. We do have a shot to do greatness and everything. And that's what these kids did. I mean, you know, they came in and that's part of what we do all the time. You know, every time we break it down with best on 3, 1, 2, 3, best. And, you know, we don't do that to be cocky or anything, but we just, you know, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe in your teammates. And we in West Virginia, in many ways, have been almost conditioned to believe we're kind of beat down, and maybe even, like I said in the State of the States, the idea of, are we going to be dead last, or is it going to be Mississippi? And I don't like that. And I love our people, and I love our state so much, it's unbelievable. But I want us to be first. I want us to be absolutely the best. And so there was a real message in that. You know, I didn't take time to go through explaining it all, and some people got it and some people didn't. But it was a great experience for those kids, but there was a message as well.
You also mentioned in your State of the State address about tying together being governor and being basically serving as a coach for the state. You know, one thing that came to mind when I heard that is that, you know, when you've got 5 players on the court, they all have to work toward a common goal. Each brings something a little bit different, and you work together and you can reach your goal. But if you go with 5 separate agendas and everybody trying to do their own thing, then you don't succeed in any way. That sounds like politics too, doesn't it?
Well, you know, it surely does, you know, a little bit. But, you know, the bottom line of the whole thing is just this, guys, is, you know, we got a lot of good players in this state, and and the players can either be the legislatures or the players can be the people of the state. But you know, and I don't say this in any egotistical way, but you know, we've just not had a coach that was able to step back, that had an incredible amount of experience, and you know, I've got that, and a lot of creativity. I've screwed up so many things in my life that you learn a lot from it, and you learn from your mistakes. And a lot of people say, well, how can you do so many different things? Well, you know, it's easy to do a lot of stuff when sometimes you just don't do a lot of stuff very good. But the net of the whole thing is just this. You know, I do have a lot of experience. I do have a lot of creativity. And the biggest thing that I'm there for the right reason. You see, I'm not there to try to one-up somebody on, you know, which party's better, whether it be Dems or Republican. I'm not there for anything whatsoever for myself. And if you've got somebody that's got the experience and the creativity and has really coached, and you've got the players, you know, it's just a matter of being there for the right reason and being able to unite the players together, and then everybody work toward a common goal and get there. And, you know, it is I say this sincerely as I can possibly say it, but if you look at when I walked in on day one to where we are today, it is absolutely unbelievable what is going on in our state, and there's real hope, and there's real activity, and the numbers are working, and we're on our way. And if we can just not get in our own way and mess this up, we're on a pathway to really doing something really good. And I know we still got a pile of people that are out there that are really hurting, and we don't want to quit till they're all not hurting. But there's a pile of people that are moving in the right direction today too.
Coach, this is Joe Linville, and first of all, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today to meet with the group I was in there with. But, when I went in, I addressed you as coach, and a couple people kind of looked at me kind of funny, and I was glad you referred to you were the coach of West Virginia. But how hard was it to step aside as the boys coach? I know your busy schedule with your duties as the governor, and of course still staying on as the head coach of the girls team there at Greenbrier East. How tough was that of a decision?
Oh, I hated it. I just hated it. That's all there is to it, because I felt like I've been there 6 years. We really had the boys program really cooking. And we had some kids coming back that were rock solid and three of the best shooters in the state. And I just, I loved all the kids. And the boys were just, I've probably coached more boys games than I have girls, but I've coached an awful lot of girls as well. And so, but I love the kids and I wish, Bimbo, the very, very best, they're really struggling now. I think they're 1-8 or something like that, and they're really struggling, and I know he's trying hard to find his way, and I hope to goodness that they can get this thing, the boat righted, because we had things really cooking, and, you guys had us ranked number 1 in the state last year at one point in time in the season, and so I hate to see them struggling, and I really miss them. But at the same time, there's just so much you can do and do well, and I miss them. And it was a tough decision, believe me, but it was the right decision because you just can't do it with so much.
Coach, this is Bill Cornwell. Of course, just a couple of weeks into the legislative session, and bill's been introduced that involves and affects high school athletics. Just wanted to know your thoughts, if any, about the Tebow bill, of course, which will involve homeschooled kids having the possibility to participate at their local nearby public school athletically.
Well, my feelings about that are real simple, guys. I'm a real believer in public schools, and I believe, that there's really a place, and for kids that are being homeschooled, and but it becomes really a push-pull deal, and it's just right now, ours, there are people that believe that we should have charter schools, or people that believe that the kids that are homeschooled ought to be able to play and participate on all the teams and do all the stuff. And we all know the economics of the public schools and how we're struggling with the economics of the whole thing. And so there's a lot of issues at play here, but I am a real believer that before we may plow off in a lot of different directions, we probably really need to stabilize the patient, and the patient is the public school. Schools are our communities, and for crying out loud, we've got some of the greatest teachers and some of the greatest schools, but we've lost a little bit of our way there, and we have some real challenges with economics and everything. And so, I just think we need to get our public schools rock solid before we start, laying additional challenges upon those schools.
Talking with Jim Justice, the governor of West Virginia and the head coach of the Greenbrier East girls basketball team. And the Big Atlantic Classic is coming up soon, and I know that there's been a lot of interest in that event over the years. There's always interest in it, and several people have been talking about it already to this point. What can you tell us about this year's version of the Big Atlantic Classic?
Well, I'm on this one, I'm gonna have to plead a little bit of ignorance because, I know just enough to really be dangerous. I don't even know all the lineups of the teams. I know from a AAA boys standpoint, I know we've got University and Woodrow and Martinsburg, and I think they're 1, 2, 3 in the state. And so, I know from the standpoint of the girls that we've got, Wyoming East in there, and we've got Parkersburg and us, and so we've got some awfully nice teams right there, and we've got the traditional powers in AA and single A, and all that bit. We still not announced our speaker, and I can't do that with you tonight, but it'll be a great week of basketball, and it'll be a celebration of let me tell you this story real quick, guys, but this is what the Big Atlantic is all about. I mean, we play in between the games. You play, grade school teams. Those little kids get out there, and I can remember one night that Beckley was playing Mount Zion from like Charlotte or wherever they're from. I think in North Carolina. Beckley had a great team, and Mount Zion was nationally ranked, I think, and so. In between the game, Bradley Elementary is playing another local elementary school, and there's a kid and his name I don't know Jimmy's last name. It just left me there, but nevertheless, Jimmy is a 6th grader, and he's a really tall kid, and he's a kid that's struggling in the classroom a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But Jimmy. Mo Ball said, if Jimmy gets in the game, because Mo Ball was coaching the Bradley team, he says, Jimmy gets in the game and you watch him because he'll shoot it from anywhere. And literally, the Raleigh County Armory had 4,000 people in it that night. And all of a sudden, at halftime of the game, here's Jimmy Chapman. That's his name, Chapman. And Jimmy Chapman is on the floor. And when he comes on the floor, Lord be my witness if I'm not telling you the truth. The ball came to him, and when the ball came to him, he was about 3 foot on the goal side of midcourt. He went down like a frog and turned it loose, and it was a solid knuckleball, and it sailed right through the air and didn't hit nothing but net. And when it did, he went completely crazy. He was circling the floor, and the place erupted. I mean, and so there's so many things about the Big Atlantic. The scholarships for the cheerleaders and all the kids and all the team guarantees and all the scholarships. And it is a special week of basketball, but it's about a lot more than just a ball and a tournament game. So it'll be a good week.
Governor, we would be remiss if we let you go without saying thank you as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Over the summer, the people who participate in this program were given certificates of recognition from your office, and we got a chance to go up to the Capitol and do that in the reception room, and that was something that was a special time for us, and also for Hazel Dameron, the mother of Fred Dameron, who is one of the people behind the scenes, and she does a lot of work as well, as she was recognized as a distinguished West Virginian. So we certainly thank you and your office for all of that as well.
Well, listen, you guys are what it's really all about in this world. I mean, you started out, you had an idea, you had a dream, you had a passion, and you're doing it, and you're making a tremendous contribution to our state, to our kids, to our schools, and we love you for it. And I mean that really sincerely. I'm really proud of you, and I think you're doing great work. And I'm just honored you'll have me on the show every now and then. And I hope we can pull off another win tomorrow night against GW. That'll be a tough one. We're going to be at GW, so we're going to have our hands full tomorrow night.
Yeah. Governor Jim Justice, thank you so much for joining us, and we always enjoy our chats.
Well, thank you guys again. Thank you now. Bye-bye.
All right. That's once again Governor Jim Justice and the girls basketball coach at Greenbrier East.
One thing he did say today, and it really impressed me, he said, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair if I didn't care about the kids of West Virginia. And I think sincerely he meant it. Well,
we're going to step aside and take a break. We will come back, and we've got a lot of callers that are hanging on there. We appreciate them for doing that. We'll also work on getting you a scoreboard update at Hoops_Roundup, by the way. Also, we'll meet our standout athlete of the week. All of that. So much to do when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Jaden Lindsay, East Fairmont Bees. Jacob Clark, Riverside Warriors. Cole Honaker, Shady Springs Tigers. Sydney Nestor, Tucker County Mountain Lions. Isaiah Morgan, Ravenswood Red Devils. What they all have in common, they were selected by Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as the Standout Athlete of the Week. And in just a few moments, you'll meet the new Standout Athlete of the Week. Have someone remarkable on your team? Did you have an athlete make an outstanding play? You can nominate your team's players to become the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week, we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com, and click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the nomination form. We'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Mountain State's voice for all things high school basketball. Don't forget to join us online tonight. Vote in this week's poll. You've got till 11:45 tonight. We'll share the voting results with you. Last week's question, should West Virginia adopt a statewide no school, no practice, no play policy, or should it be left to the school system? 82% of you said leave it up to each school system, and only 18% said statewide no school, no practice, no play. This week's question, should technical fouls in high school be handled more closely like they are handled in college basketball? Tell us tonight. Vote yes or no.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
10:23 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling and Joe Linville with you. Bill Cornwell in studio with us tonight as well. Luke Creasy, our special correspondent, joins us now. It's time to find out about this week's Standout Athlete of the Week.
Well, Ryan, it's the first time that we won't have a senior this season as our Standout Athlete of the Week. It comes in the form of Deja Busby, a junior from Sherman High School, plays for the girls team, and started playing basketball at the age of 5. She's played basketball pretty much all her life at this point, and has been through quite a journey in her high school career. Missed her freshman year due to an injury that was non-basketball related, but battled through that and has really become a staple for that Lady Tide team.
And her coach kind of refers to her as a mom of the team.
Well, she takes care of people. She likes to make sure that everybody around her is doing well and that kind of thing. And that's what a mother does. And she's really taken that team under her wing. And as a junior, that's pretty impressive.
And also she's someone who is goal-oriented. Sometimes we are mentally, but we don't necessarily put it into words, so to speak. But she has goals in mind that are attainable.
And her father spoke a lot of that As I got a chance to talk to him earlier, Brian really has seen her grow up, has seen her transform into the leader she is. Used to be shy and timid as a child, but as she grew and as she matured, Joe, you were talking about the maturity of some of these girls in high school, and she really shows that for this Lady Tide team.
Luke has more now with our standout athlete of the week, Deja Busby from Sherman High School.
Being a leader doesn't always mean one has to stand in the spotlight. For some, it's a call to service, to the program, to the teammates, and to the goals of the team as a whole. It's not about giving speeches, it's about setting an example through hard work and dedication. Deja Busby's attentiveness to the immediate needs of the Sherman Lady Tide while keeping the long-term goal in mind makes Busby this week's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week.
In the history of Sherman High basketball, we've only made it to the girls' state basketball tournament one time, and I was actually on that team. We've made it to the regionals 2 out of the last 5 years, but, we got beat by 6 and then by 7 the next year. But we're hoping that Deja helps us take that next step and make it to the regionals, make it to the state tournament.
Terry Williams is the coach of the Lady Tide and has witnessed steady improvement each season during her tenure there. But even so, Sherman basketball has never been a hub for the spotlight. Busby says that this year's team can
to show that Sherman High School isn't just a single-A school, hopefully showing that we have some talent here. And
Deja Busby's father, Brian, says he's seen a complete change from the early years of her playing career to now.
She used to be really timid when she first started playing. She wouldn't shoot or anything like that. But as she matured in the game and she got a little better, her confidence grew, and she's actually, like you said, become a leader down there in Sherman.
Though only a junior, Coach Williams says Busby leads with compassion, putting others above herself in every situation, which has collected recognition from the team and the coaching staff.
She's always the one to give everybody the extra hand. It don't matter what it is. She's contributed as far as leadership, just a junior, but, she's the biggest leader on our team.
Brian Busby says his daughter, quite simply, just plays the game, maintaining composure even in tight situations.
Where she's a bigger kid, she gets a lot of fouls called, sort of like LeBron, I guess, a lot of times. And she doesn't get fouls a lot of times. She doesn't get frustrated. She doesn't get mad. She doesn't complain or go off on the refs like you see some kids doing. She just plays the game.
The Sherman Lady Tide are off to a perfect 10-0 start and currently sit 4th in the Class 1A girls standings. Busby and her teammates are taking it one game at a time. But Busby isn't letting the long-term goal get too far out of mind, a place where no one on the current roster has been, the state tournament.
I see a big chance that we can do it.
For Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, I'm Special Correspondent Luke Creasy.
Thank you very much, Luke. Let's jump right back to the phone lines. Eric Little, WVVV in Parkersburg. Eric, covering the Parkersburg South Warren, Ohio boys game. And Eric, tell me a little bit about the Patriots.
Well, Parkersburg South hadn't played in over a week because of their game being snowed out last Saturday. But the Patriots shook off the rust. They played a tight game against Warren. They came away with a 57-50 win. Third time in the last 4 games they played a really tight one where neither team led by more than single figures at either any point of the ball game. Parkersburg South was led by Cole Plants, had 19 points, 12 of those coming in the second half, and he was 6 of 6 from the free throw line when it counted, 6 of 6 in the fourth quarter to help the Patriots put that game away. It was tied after quarters 1 and 3, and really what helped Parkersburg South in putting this game away, they got the defensive stop, so they needed it, and they were good from the free throw line. That's what they've needed. That's what they've been doing all year long. Their work from the free throw line and their ability to force turnovers. Both of those things were there tonight, and that's been their hallmark to success all year.
7 straight for the Patriots, and a big game coming up this week with University.
Yeah, I would venture to say it's probably going to be, if not the most anticipated game in the state, one of the most anticipated games in the state this week. It's a good OVAC team, and as I talked about with Parkersburg South head coach Mike Fallon in the postgame, it seems like every game is big for some reason. It seems like every game's either a team that went to the state tournament last year, a team in the conference, or a team in the region. So there's not been many nights off for the Patriots. For that matter, there really haven't been any nights off for University as well. When you go to 9-0, and it's really the second straight year that ball club has been an elite team in West Virginia, you start to get the target on your back. And we'll see if the Hawks can handle the intense environment at the Rotterdam Athletic Center on Wednesday.
Eric Little, WVVV in Parkersburg. Thanks for hanging in there with us tonight.
Hey, thank you.
All right, appreciate that. And we're right at that time. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Julianne Buckley, the head coach of the Hampshire girls team. We've also got David Hall, WDMX 100 in Williamstown, Chris George of West Virginia Radio with Tucker County, Pendleton County tonight. He goes all over the place. Nathan Bush, WVOW, had that great double overtime game between Man and Lincoln County. Matt Miller, WRNR, had Musselman's big win over Martinsburg. We'll talk all of that and much more in Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
There's no better place to be than right here. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The Marshall University Sports Journalism degree is designed for you to find a job to put your knowledge and training to work after graduation. The program allows for students to concentrate in one of 3 exciting areas: print, public relations, or broadcasting. Our curriculum features skill-based courses and prioritizes hands-on, real-life experiences that not only expose the students' work to the public, but also to sports journalism professionals who are often willing to provide crucial feedback and career-launching advice. Marshall University has 15 varsity teams that afford sports journalism majors the opportunity to cover them in any media format, including text, online, photo, radio, and video. Hands-on experiences come through Marshall's student-powered media, the Parthenon, WMUL Radio, and Herd TV, as well as communications campaigns, off-campus internships, and an expansive alumni network in all areas of expertise. The Marshall University School of Journalism is ready and eager to help you start your sports media career. Learn more about the exciting possibilities by visiting marshall.edu/SOJMC. Remind you again about our poll question. You can find it on our website, basketballnight.com. The question tonight: should technical fouls in high school be handled more closely like they are handled in college basketball? Vote yes or no. You've got till 11:45 tonight, and we'll share it with you. Shout out to some of our newest followers on Twitter: Chris Way, Clayton B., Linda Gray.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
10:32 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. So happy to have you along with us here on the Fast Break Sports Network. And, you know, we try to really keep an eye on teams that sometimes you don't hear a whole lot about, especially when it comes to teams that are, having success at the same time. One of those is the girls basketball team at Hampshire, the Trojans, 10-2 on the season, and they were scheduled to play Allegheny, Maryland tonight also. So it's been a busy week for Hampshire as they beat Allegheny tonight. So actually the Hampshire Trojans are now 11-2. Head coach is Julianne Buckley. She joins us now on the program. And, Coach, we're too far along in the season to say a good start. Let's just say your season is going well to this point.
Yeah, honestly, I can't complain at all. My varsity team's 11-2. My JV team's 9-1. All the games we lost were extremely winnable. We leave it all on the court and we continue to play. And just like you said, we're not always a team that's going to get recognized. I went to Hampshire. I graduated from Hampshire. I know that. But, we play hard, just as hard as anyone else, and we're just, we're trying to get on the map too. So
I remember about 17 years or so ago, Hampshire had an exceptionally good girls basketball team that went into Charleston and lost in just a heartbreaking game to Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I was at that game.
I was going to say, I'm sorry if I bring up bad memories or anything there, but
Oh no, my memory was almost just as bad my senior year. But yeah, my brother's actually married to one of the twins that played on that team, so I was at that game.
the Davis twins, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. My memory's still hanging in there so far. But so you mentioned you're kind of fighting an uphill battle there, but in terms of just attention to your program, but from the health of the program standpoint, you mentioned your JV program is doing so well, your varsity program doing so well. That helps kind of change the culture there, not only for the kids who are in high school now, but for the young girls who are in Hampshire County who may be looking around and saying, hey, the high school team's pretty good, but maybe I should put more work into basketball when they're in elementary or middle school.
I mean, honestly, that's the key. And I'm someone that's from Hampshire County, graduated from Hampshire County. I moved back with intentions to give this county everything that I didn't have, and you said my goals exactly. I mean, it's just about. I mean, I built from the ground up. This is my 4th year as head coach, and you gotta create a culture, and you gotta get your kids to buy into it, and they will. And if things prove to be successful, they buy more and more in, and it's working out for us really well. And every year we've improved, and I think more people know about us now. We're making more of a presence in places, and I think it's only going to be up from here as long as we can continue to go at this rate.
A county the size of Hampshire County, and it's geographically kind of a widespread county, but most of the population tends to be focused in the Romney area. But
I mean, our county's huge. It's land-wise, it's one of the biggest counties in Hampshire County. I mean, I've got girls that travel an hour and a half to practice, an hour and a half to school, and that's another thing about the great part of our success is that we face situations that typical schools don't always face. I mean, some of my girls live closer to other high schools, and the fact I can get them to as much stuff as I can, and my kids are so spread out throughout a county. It's just we face a lot of diversity at our school, and we make it happen. And I have great parents and great support system, and we're just continuing to make it happen. And I couldn't be more grateful that we're able to do that.
Well, Coach Buckley, your ball club taking on Hedgesville this week, and also a trip to Kaiser this week. So a couple of road challenges for your basketball club.
Right. I mean, we had 5 in a row. Now we have 4 in a row. So. We can do it. We can do it.
Hey, the Hampshire Trojans, 11-2. Coach Julianne Buckley, thank you so much for joining us, and we certainly wish your program the best going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right. And we'll go to our next call in just a second. I just want to reflect on that for a moment. And Joe, when you're from a rural area, which, quite frankly, when you're from West Virginia, you almost are, but it can be a battle to get people to kind of pay attention to your program or your school when you're not right in a community. And Romney's a pretty decent-sized area, but as Coach Buckley just mentioned, such a spread-out place there. But when you don't have tradition, getting your foot on solid ground takes a little bit of time, and it seems like they're on the right path.
Exactly. I mean, when you're 10-2 at this point in the season, you've got a pretty good basketball team. And there again, winning brings people together. People don't want to go watch a team lose, but when you're winning, they'll come out of the woodwork, come out and support you.
I'll tell you who's been winning big over the years has been Martinsburg. Football specifically, basketball has been very good as well. But tonight the Bulldogs fall at Musselman. WRNR Radio's Matt Miller joins us now here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. And Matt, I know that if you just from the outside looking in, that score will catch a lot of people's attention tonight. Musselman getting a double-digit victory over Martinsburg.
Well, it should catch everybody's attention in the fact that Martinsburg hasn't lost at Musselman since the 2000 season. Musselman's wins against Martinsburg over the last few years, a win in 2014, a win in 2015, even a victory last year, all came at the Martinsburg Fieldhouse. So this was a big game tonight for the Applemen.
And for Martinsburg now at 8-3, they'd lost twice to Loudoun Valley, Virginia, And that's their first loss, though, within the Mountain State. And for the Bulldogs, it's you can learn from a loss, and sometimes it takes taking one on the chin, so to speak, to get your attention.
Well, no doubt they took one on the chin tonight. Martinsburg did not play a very good game overall, and a big part of that was the fact that Musselman did come out and play very well. There were 4 ties in the opening quarter, the last one at 13 apiece, and that's when Musselman went on an 8-0 run, closing out the first quarter, still held that 8-point lead at the half, stretched it out to a 12-point lead at the end of quarter number 3, and then went on for that 16-point victory. Great effort for Jake Stevens, 25 points to lead the Musselman Applemen, one of 4 of the starters that finished in double figures.
I know you are you cover the Martinsburg program, but I know you're familiar with Musselman. What a 4-game stretch for them. Wins over Loudoun County, Virginia by 1, an 11-point win over Hedgesville, a 1-point win over Morgantown, and then that win over Martinsburg tonight. That's as impressive of a 4-game stretch as you'll find.
Yeah, they're rolling 7 straight wins now with this victory to improve to 9-3. And talking with Coach Basil, we've talked each week for one of our local sports talk shows here, and he just continues to talk about the resiliency of this team, how they continue to battle. They're never out of games, and they have been able to win some very close games, and games they've been trailing late in the game. They never really had to come from behind in this one. They took charge in that first quarter.
Matt Miller, WRNR Radio in Martinsburg, thanks so much for hanging with us tonight, and always appreciate getting to talk basketball with you here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Always good to join you guys. Thanks.
All right, and let's jump. We'll take another second to digest that one. Bill Cornwell, that's an impressive run of wins for Musselman.
Yeah.
That's a ball club that sometimes people, again, much of the state won't know much about them unless they make it to Charleston.
Going to be an interesting sectional up there.
Yes.
Going to be a very interesting one. As far on the Martinsburg side, probably the one thing that works in Coach Rogers' favor with the Bulldogs is they don't have a lot of time to stew about this one. They have a home game with Morgantown tomorrow night.
Yeah, nothing like the Mohegans.
Yes.
Right at, coming into the next night. Yeah. It seems like Morgantown kind of, they play just about everybody, it feels like.
They do.
It really does.
They go east, they go west, they go north. But they've really developed Martinsburg and Morgantown a little bit of a rivalry in both football and basketball in recent years.
Well, also joining us now on the program is David Hall, WDMX Radio 100 in Williamstown, as he's going to talk with us about the Williamstown-Parkersburg Catholic game. And David, Parkersburg Catholic remains undefeated tonight.
Yeah, well, a quick couple side notes real quick. Last night we covered the game. The Williamstown boys defeated Tyler Consolidated 60-53 to go 8-4. And John Chalfin and Mike Caden wanted me to report for River 102. They covered the PHS Big Red boys. They win tonight 85-36 over Ripley. Tonight, a big rivalry game, as always. It's about 10 miles apart. Parkersburg Catholic girls, they're coming in undefeated, 12-0, taking on the Williamstown girls basketball. 2 great coaches, Marty Bierheller, Fred Sorrow. It started off really close. A couple weeks ago, they played. The Yellow Jackets had 20 turnovers, guys, the first half. Tonight, they stuck right with them. First half, they're right there, 44-39. Pulled away in the third quarter. It was too much. A young lady, Emily, a sophomore, this girl's name you're going to hear a lot, Madeline Huffman. She is the point guard, does it all. She can drive, shoot outside. You name it, the kid can play. She kind of took over 23 points tonight for the Yellow Jackets. Leading scorers, Bethany Arndt had a double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. Also, Keely Ossip, she did a good job as they shot 14 points. Bethany Wager, 9 points. But really, this game was about Madeline Huffman, what she was able to do. Gosh, she really is one of those point guards that's outstanding, and she really makes this team go. For the Catholic Crusaders, they shot tonight 50%. 32 of 64 from the field, 64% free throws. They only had 4 of 14 3-points. Didn't matter. They did what they had to do. And for Williamstown, they dropped 8-3, and they lose 77-62 to Parkersburg Catholic girls. As the girls of Parkersburg Catholic, well, Marty Barrow's got a good team. They're 13-0, and they got Worth County coming up. And the Williamstown girls on Monday night, they'll have Tyler one of the 4 teams now that's beat them. Tyler has beat them once. Wheeling Central has beat them, and 2 times by those girls from Parkersburg Catholic. So good game tonight overall, but the Catholic Crusaderettes, they win 77-62.
Thank you. Hey, David Hall, WDMX 100 in Williamstown. Always a pleasure, David.
Okay, guys, have a good weekend.
All right, thanks, you too. We'll step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with our standout athlete of the week, Deja Busby of Sherman High School. We will also talk with Chris George. He was at the Tucker County, Pendleton County boys game, and Nathan Bush, WVOW, one of the best games of the night. Man in Lincoln County went to double overtime in boys basketball. We'll talk about all of that, much more when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia rolls on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Streaming video live from the studios at Marshall University, visit basketballnight.com for video, audio, and the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. You can watch our live high-definition video stream by going to basketballnight.com. All it takes is just one click to watch. Of course, we're on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, too. Just click on our affiliates page to find the station nearest you. You can watch our high-definition video on YouTube. Go to basketballnight.com. Just click to watch. On Facebook Live, we're on the RSN Sports Facebook page. And go there to watch Facebook Live. Of course, we're on Periscope, too. We're on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. And on cable, if you're a subscriber to Suddenlink, we're on Network West Virginia statewide. And in the Huntington area, we're on Comcast Channel 25. One thing we want you to do, if you're watching right now, you see lots of pictures from games, teams, fans. We want you to send your pictures to us. Send your pictures to us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. If you want to send them to us through Facebook or Instagram, go to the RSN Sports Network, RSN Sports Network Facebook and Instagram page, and you can send your game pictures to us. You can even send them by email. Send them to scores@basketballnight.com, scores@basketballnight.com. Give us your best picks of your team and your fans. We want you to become a part of the show, Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Thanks for joining us on Twitter. Shout out to Cassie Wright, Virgil Lee Davis, new followers.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
It is 10:47 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Friday night, January 19th, 2018. Ryan Epling, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville with you. Happy to have you along on the program across the great state of West Virginia as we celebrate high school basketball. We always joke around that football is the most popular sport in America right now. There's no doubt about that. But if you go to the Super Six in Wheeling, I mean, it's an outdoor sport. Championships are played in December. You go to the Super Six in Wheeling, a good crowd for a title game is about 4,000 to 5,000 people, and that's not bad at all. Not saying anything.
They fill about half the stadium there.
And it's good. It's a good atmosphere. It's a good-sized stadium for that, so I'm not getting into that.
No.
You go to a single session of the boys' state tournament, and it will have more people in attendance.
10,000, 11,000.
And you go to championship, or you go to semifinal Friday is the big one to me for both boys and girls basketball. And the girls basketball attendance is doing better.
It keeps getting better every year. I mean, because I've been to a lot of them. We've all been to a lot of them, and it just impresses me how much more and more folks are coming to that tournament. And a lot of them are coming and attending the entire tournament like they do the boys tournament.
Yes, and it's always just a good time to see people, too.
I was going to say, that's the one time, the 2 weeks of the year that I see people once a year. But, and it's unreal, the people that come and make motel reservations year after year after year to support these young. Even when their teams don't make it, they still come and cheer on the other teams.
So high school basketball obviously has a stronghold here in the Mountain State. Right now we're going to meet our standout athlete of the week. She is a junior at Sherman High School. She unfortunately had to miss her freshman year due to an injury, played sparingly her sophomore year, but is currently a big factor for the Tide this year. She is Deja Busby. She joins us now on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Deja, welcome to the program.
Hey.
And congratulations on being our standout athlete of the week. And Deja, before we get into your team success, let's just talk a little bit about what made you our standout athlete of the week this week. And one thing that your coach told us is that you were sort of the mother of the team. You were kind of looking out for your teammates. I know at that age it's hard to see yourself that way, but is that a role that you kind of willingly accept?
Yes, I like to make sure the team is staying up and positive, making sure, like, if they mess up, I'm trying to pick them back up, try to get them to play how they can play instead of them getting themselves down or messing up even more.
Deja, this is Joe Linville. In the segment, it talked about you being, a leader of the team, even as a junior. Do you consider yourself a natural leader?
Yes, I hope to be. My senior year, I want to come out to be the strong leader. I hope this helps me get to that point.
Well, your ball club is 10-0 on the season. Can't start much better than that. And picked up a win earlier this week over Scott, 56-36. So obviously your message to your team is getting through right now.
Yeah, I'm glad it is.
Let's go back. Any game to this point this year, and you've had some close games, and you've also had some games that you won running away, but any one game in particular to this point this year stand out to you?
I think when we played against Scott, we played more as a team, and we played our best defense and scored really well. People stepped up and handled the ball more that game.
How is the, Sherman is kind of, it's, really not that far from, the Kanawha Valley and Charleston, but it is a little rural. How does the fans come out and support your team this year?
We have a really big student section. They all come out and cheer us on, and they help us pick up our confidence. We're more like a family.
Deja Busby is a junior at Sherman High School. She is our standout athlete of the week. And for those who don't know, Sherman is located in the town of Seth in Boone County. Deja, congratulations on being our standout athlete of the week. We wish you and the Lady Tide all the best.
Thank you.
All right, let's go right back to the phones and to Chris George. Chris putting more miles on the car tonight with the Tucker County-Pelham County boys game.
Yeah, more miles again tomorrow and all next week. But that's why you love doing games. You love going out and broadcasting these games for the kids. It's always fun. And tonight, Tucker County's starting to get hot here, guys. 3 in a row now they've won after a tough overtime loss to Kaiser back on January the 3rd. And tonight, winners over Pendleton County 75-46. And in fact, back on Wednesday, they beat Moorfield. So 2-0 against sectional opponents in their same section, which is always key. You want to get that number 1 seed come March in the sectional tournaments, and that right now Tucker County a leg up and really playing good basketball. 4 guys in double figures. Against Moorfield back on Wednesday, they had 6 players in double figures. So Coach Jimmy Ambrose looks like he's starting to turn the corner, but tomorrow they'll face number 1 team in the state at 2 o'clock up at Tucker County High School, and the game will have on 94.7 WELK in the area. It will be Wheeling Central at Tucker at 2 o'clock tomorrow. They met earlier in the year up in Wheeling, and Wheeling won the game going away. But this is the better Tucker County team. Tucker's going to have to continue to shoot the ball well like they've had the last 3 games. It's going to be a tough one for Tucker, but this will be a good matchup tomorrow afternoon.
Well, it should be a lot of fun when those 2 teams get together tomorrow. And Chris, what's your schedule for next week?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're tomorrow. tomorrow. I got the Tucker boys game at 2 with Linville Central. Then the girls tomorrow night at Tucker will play Pendleton at 7:30. Got both of those games. And then next week, Monday, we got Taggart Valley at home against Clay Battelle. Tuesday, we have Tucker County East Hardy girls at Tucker. Wednesday, Bridgeport hosting East Fairmont boys. And Friday, we got a doubleheader at Notre Dame, Tucker girls and Tucker boys, both at Notre Dame, and a doubleheader. Then Saturday, Charleston Catholic girls visit Tucker County on the mountain on Saturday. So a full slate of games next week. The weather actually looks pretty good. Looks like we'll get them all in, hopefully.
Hey, hope so. Chris George, thanks so much.
Talk to you guys next Friday.
All right, that's Chris George, West Virginia Radio, and he was hanging in there with us tonight as well. And we only have about a couple of minutes here, so I want to hold Nathan Bush until after the break, and I apologize to that in advance, Nathan. But we're going to have to dedicate a little more time to that than what we have. I just don't want to interrupt the flow of that when we get to talk with him in a moment, because he had the double overtime Lincoln County game, which had a fantastic finish.
Yeah, and we're going to have a little video on that, I understand.
Yeah, so this
for those who are watching.
Yeah, and if you're listening, continue to listen on those great radio stations across West Virginia. But you can also use your cell phone and pull up basketballnight.com and get ready to watch the video, because we're going to show you that fantastic finish at a little after 11. In the business, we call that a tease, and if I wrote them that well in my job, I would probably do a little bit better in that regard. But, Bill, we've talked tonight about teams having to fight the weather, and ironically, the way the weather fell this week, it was areas that are typically not the ones that get hit by weather in West Virginia that were snowed on, while areas that usually get snow got a little bit of rain and maybe a day off of school, but not the entire week like other sections in the southeastern and central part of the state did.
Yeah, when I think about bad weather in the state, I'm thinking about Beckley, Bluefield. I'm thinking about the sometimes the Pocahontas folks, the folks in Greenbrier County, and then along the mountains. There's where they get the snow, but not in the Huntington-Charleston corridor and Parkersburg area. But the Ohio Valley got hit hard both by cold weather and by snow this week, and it's been very atypical this year. But hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed we won't have to fight that battle again this season.
It creates all sorts of problems. I've got a short time to tell you a quick story. We were doing weather coverage at the television station I work, WSAZ in Huntington, and I was moving my car for one of our live shots. I was going to have our reporter to scrape my windshield to show how much ice was on it. And, of course, there's, benefit to that as well. I wouldn't have to scrape my windshield. But I was walking back up the street, and I noticed there was this about, 2 foot long by 10-inch wide just gap in the snow because the street was covered in snow. And I got to looking, and there's a hole. And I stuck a yardstick down in it and didn't hit bottom.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So thankfully I didn't step in the sinkhole in Huntington. But and it had apparently been there for a while, over a month apparently, we're finding out now. But, yeah, we're working on getting that fixed. That was an interesting little morning there because you just never know what you're going to face in morning news. The things you don't see on the air, and then sometimes you see some of it on the air. It's just incredible what happens there. But we're not going to get too much into that because you don't.
And there are bloopers too.
No, never, never.
The best part would have been
no one messes up.
Best part would have been if they were taking your windshield and all of a sudden it cracked.
Now let's not talk about that. Hour 3 of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia coming up after this on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
If you love basketball, there's only one place to be on Friday nights after the game. It's Basketball Friday Nights in West Virginia. Special thanks to all of our affiliates tonight. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including 103.7 Jack FM, WQWE in Fisher, the Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM, WKKX in Wheeling, 1370 AM, WVLY Moundsville. Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel Singing News Radio, 92.5 FM WTHM LP Ravenswood Ripley, Knights Radio 91.5 FM WRSG Middleburn, Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg 740 AM 106.5 FM, Classic Hits 106 WHFI Linside 106.7 FM, 95 The Sports Fox WBES in Charleston 950 AM 101.9 FM and 1290 AM WVOW in Logan, Light Rock 93R WRRR St. Mary's 93.9 FM, The Ticket 102.3 FM WMTD in Hinton, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM WQAZLP Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM WYAPLP in Clay, and Marshall University's flagship station, 88.1 FM WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers, if you have Network West Virginia, you see us statewide. We're also in the Huntington region on Comcast, Channel 25.
Welcome back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. To join tonight's program, call 855-78-HOOPS. That's 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup for all the scores all the time. And visit basketballnight.com for a comprehensive look at schedules and standings for every team in the state. Stay tuned. Another hour of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia begins right now.
11 o'clock on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling alongside Joe Linville and Bill Cornwell. Happy to have you along here on the program. And we'll get you a full scoreboard in just a moment. I know we've been behind on that.
All evening.
Yeah, extenuating circumstances that I know you appreciate at home as well in terms of, we had the governor of West Virginia on. And whenever you get a chance to get the governor on, you do.
Take advantage of it.
Take advantage
Tell you
of
what,
it.
we covered a lot of area with him, and it wasn't just basketball, but most of it all touched on basketball or high school athletics.
And we greatly appreciate him taking the time to talk with us, and Joe for helping to set that up today.
Thank you.
And
it was easy. You just ask him to be on. Sure, I'll be glad to.
Well, he loves the show, guys.
He does. He really does.
And I think anytime we ask him if he's got the time, he will do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly still kind of, it's humbling when the governor brags on your work publicly, and that holds true in any state, in any country for that matter.
Yeah.
And it's just like I said,
we have a common interest, though. He loves basketball. We love basketball.
And we can talk basketball all day. All night long. And we'll get you that full scoreboard in a moment. I do want to make sure, though, you can go on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. We tweet out all the scores every day. That's every day of the week that those get tweeted out. So you definitely want to follow at @hoops_roundup. You can also go to basketballnight.com to get all those scores as well. And we also always encourage you to send us your scores, send us pictures from your games. We get those up during the breaks, and also videos. And speaking of videos, great game tonight between Man and Lincoln County. I think in many ways, if you look at that matchup going in, what were the stakes? Well, what the stakes are for, quite frankly, most teams in West Virginia. You're trying to win a ball game tonight.
Exactly.
And that, to me, is, that's a big part of what basketball is about in this state. It's not, and this show, we don't want to highlight just the great teams. I mean, we do want to give them credit, obviously. But, everybody's out there working hard. Everybody's doing their best. Everybody's, you get compelling storylines. And like tonight, we had a Lincoln County team that came in 4-4, a Man team that came in at 4-6, and right. Joe Linville, we might have had the best finish of the night.
Exactly. I mean, I thought it would be a good game. I've seen both these teams play this year, but man, I tell you what, they had a great game down in Man tonight.
Lincoln County got the win, and they did so with a great play from a young man named Zeus Ferguson. And we have the video of that, which we are going to run right now here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia from our correspondent Bill Lusk. It was a turnaround jumper from the free throw line as time expired. You could hear the horn go off. It was a long pass, and Ferguson caught it at the elbow at the right side, turned around and banked the shot in as time expired. And that is how the visiting Lincoln County Panthers defeated Man tonight in double overtime, 89-88.
I was supposed to have had the call of that game tonight.
Oh, Joe!
I was on the schedule, and I turned it over to our next caller, Mr. Bush. So got to see a great game tonight.
Nathan Bush joins us now on the program. And, Nathan, I don't think it matters who you root for in any situation like that. It's difficult to lose those games, but tonight, that's what high school basketball is all about.
Oh, definitely. What a great game up in Man. And, Joe, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That was a good one. But, no, we had a great call, Nick Booth and I, up at Man, a game going to double overtime, a game that saw two guys take over the game in the fourth quarter and the first and second overtime. Tanner Walls from Lincoln County had 27 points, and Lincoln County actually trailed by about 6 or 7 in the fourth quarter, and his three-point shots got him back in the game. And Zach Cook for Man ended up with 40 as he was just on fire the whole game. And it was heartbreaking for the Hillbillies at home. This was the third time they've been beat by Lincoln County this season. And Lincoln County pulls it off with the Christian Leitner-esque catch and shoot at the buzzer. The pass was on target. It was beautifully done and executed, but Ferguson looked like he was surprised that he got the ball, but he put it up and in. And that was his only 2 points of the season. Or of the night. Only 2 points of the night was that shot.
Incredible basketball game, incredible finish tonight in Man as Lincoln County gets the road victory over the Hillbillies. And you mentioned for Man losing for the third time this year to Lincoln County, and I know that is frustrating. And I have some good friends from both of those locations actually, and they'll tell you though that when those two schools get together, such as tonight. And they're not neighboring schools necessarily, but they have a lot in common, we'll put it that way. And rural schools that tend to do the best they can and try to do with what they have. And when they go at it tonight, you've got two schools that are very much alike from two areas that are very similar, and you tend to get good competitive athletic events.
Yeah, both teams came out and were pressing each other on both ends. There was a lot of turnovers. Saw a lot of fouls. I think 3 guys from Lincoln County fouled out tonight, and they were really getting deep into their bench to put guys on the court. And I know of there was at least 20 to 30 overall fouls in the whole game, maybe more than that. It was a lot of fouls, but a lot of tough basketball, a lot of kids out there scrambling and scrapping and just playing hard. And both teams wanted it. You could tell and you could see it in their eyes. And then when the shot goes in, you see the sheer joy and celebration, and then the heartbreak for Man as they had to see that happen on their home court. But they should really not hang their heads. Played a great basketball game. If Man, the only thing that may have cost Man may have been the free throw shooting. They left a lot of free throws at the line, a lot of points there. But still a great basketball game. No team should be upset with how they played. And for Man now, Man plays double overtime tonight, and tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. they go play in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout. They have Phelps at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they don't get a break. They were winless last year, and Coach T.J. Blevins has done a great job turning that Man Hillbilly program around, and I know those boys are hungry for a win, week in and week out.
They are, and I think tomorrow, if they can get their legs back under them, because they looked exhausted tonight, Phelps is going to have a handful, because this is a team that I've seen play several times, and they really come out and they play hard, and they leave it all on the court. And there's not a player on that team that doesn't give 100% effort, and Coach Blevins won't accept anything less. He's really done a great job, and the pendulum is on the upswing, as you would say, for Man. I think in a couple of years, Man's going to be a handful for everybody in that section.
Should be something to look forward to for the Man Hillbillies and their alums. But tonight, a tough loss to Lincoln County at the buzzer in double overtime, 89-88. Zeus Ferguson with the 15-footer to win it as time expired. Nathan Bush, WVOW, had the call of it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I know you had to hang in there with us for a while tonight, and we appreciate that as well.
Not a problem. I'll send my cell phone bill to Joe Linville.
Thanks.
We do that too. Ironically, who else does that is Bo Anderson, but you haven't heard us talk about our resident referee tonight. But he will be on the program, I promise.
In a new form, but he's on the phone, but Bo's in the house tonight.
Yeah, well, we will have Bo a little bit later on in the program. You know what, though? We're behind on this. We need to do a Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. And Bill will let you lead it off with the girls' scores.
Okay.
As we'll change up the order a little bit. And
the girls' scores have actually really poured in. So we got a lot of girls' scores. Of course, Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. First off, Valley Fayette loses to Independence tonight, 49-24. Cameron over Frontier, Ohio, 81-46. Huntington St. Joe gets the win over Bullitt County, East Kentucky, 78-58. 26 points for Paige Shy, 18-point Dina Geralds for the Irish. Riverview beat Liberty Raleigh 67-23. It was Fayetteville 43, Richwood 31. James Monroe takes care of Pikeview 69-63. Tyler Consolidated over Ritchie County 59-58. Close one there. Midland Trail beat Oak Hill 68-47. Wheeling Central winner over Charleston Catholic 38-29. Hurricane falls to Parkersburg 63-44. It was Notre Dame, Clarksburg Notre Dame beating South Harrison 54-34. Van beats Payton City 43-21. That was in the West Virginia Hometown Invitational Tournament. Lawrence County, Kentucky Bulldogs over the Tulsa Rebels tonight 42-38. Woodrow Wilson falls to Cabell Midland out at the Castle this evening 50-48. It was Hampshire beating Allegheny, Maryland 65-54. Morgantown a winner tonight over University 51-42. Parkersburg Catholic over Williamstown 77-62. And finally, it is Wirt County falling to St. Mary's in the St. Mary's Invitational 59-21.
Boys scores tonight. We may have them all, but because I can tell you right now that Wayne Herbert Hoover game has been moved to tomorrow night. That's one that we were looking for. So we need Braxton County, Gilmer County. We need something on that. That's the only one left. Here are the scores that we have, though, tonight on the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com boys basketball scoreboard. Greenbrier West defeats Tigers Valley 62-52. Pocahontas County is now 10-1. The Warriors beat Wirt County tonight 71-54. It was Ritchie County defeating Doddridge County 75-69. Ambassador Christian defeats Phelps, Kentucky, 60-50 in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout. Those first three games, by the way, part of the Hometown Invitational. Also, Hatfield-McCoy shootout. Wyoming East 7-2 after an 87-41 victory over the Tulsa Rebels. Scott defeats Sheldon Clark, Kentucky tonight, 79-46 the final in that one. Mingo Central picks up a 20-point win over Johnson Central, Kentucky, 66-46. Miners beat the Eagles tonight in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout, and they are currently at the end of the third quarter. Believe Academy leading Tug Valley 57-43. Other games that are final tonight. It was Madonna falling at home to Steubenville Catholic Central, Ohio, 72-46 the final in that one. The Magnolia Blue Eagles defeat Payton City in a Wetzel County showdown. Final score of that one 75-56. Oak Glen 58, East Liverpool, Ohio 50 was the final there. North Marion picks up a 2-point win over Liberty Harrison, 51-49. Tight game tonight, but North Marion gets the win. The Chapmanville Regional Tigers get 24 points from Obina Killen and Drew Williamson with 20 points tonight, as well as the Tigers defeat Nitro 73-63. It was Brook picking up a 65-55 win over Weir tonight. Berkeley Springs beats Petersburg 77-69. Bridgeport goes to 9-2. Philip Barber loses for just the second time this year, 83-70. The Indians go into Philippi and get the win. Also tonight, Buchanan Upshur defeats Robert C. Byrd. Final score 67-51 in that one. Clay County over Calhoun County, 67-35. It was Oak Hill Going to 8-0, another close game for the Red Devils and another win for that ball club. 61-59 the final. East Fairmont goes to 9-2. The Bees swarm Elkins tonight. Final of 63-53. It was Fairmont Senior going to a perfect 11-0 on the season as the Polar Bears beat Lincoln tonight 74-42. Summers County picks up a 70-55 win over Fayetteville. Grafton beats Preston 57-52. Hedgesville beats Spring Mills 59-58. That game closer than what many would have expected. Cameron defeats 100 77-31. Mercer Christian over Independence tonight 60-55. Washington beats Jefferson 60-48. Wheeling Park over John Marshall 57-54. Gunnar Thompson goes over 1,000 career points for the Monarchs in the loss. It was Riverview defeating Liberty Raleigh 70-60. Lincoln County in double overtime on a Zeus Ferguson 15-foot bank shot at the buzzer beats Man 88-87. Logan defeats Winfield tonight at the Willie Acres Arena 62-53 to final in that one. Musselman surprises Martinsburg tonight 74-58. Appleman get the home win, their 7th consecutive win. Midland Trail defeats Sherman tonight 56-54 as Will Hensley had 20 points for the Tide in that one. It was Montcalm defeating Eastern Montgomery 62-44 the final. Princeton picks up a 51-45 victory over Mount View tonight. Parkersburg South goes to 9-1 with a 57-50 victory over Warren Local, Ohio. James Monroe 75, Pikeview 60 final in that one. Mavericks now 6-4. Ravenswood beats Point Pleasant. The Red Devils a perfect 10-0 with an 80-44 road victory. Parkersburg 85, Ripley 36 final in that one. Webster County beats Roane County 76-64. It was Shady Spring falling to Bluefield. Bluefield gets the win. The Beavers 7-2 with a 74-65 victory over the Tigers, and Tucker County 6-6 with a 75-46 win at home over Pendleton County. And also a final, Believe Academy defeats Tug Valley 74-64. 74-64. Believe Academy defeats Tug Valley. That was in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout in Williamson. That is your check of the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. Right?
That's a lot of scores, man. I'm telling you.
When we come back, we'll have Craig Dutton, WRRR in St. Mary's. We'll also have our resident referee, Bo Anderson, in a moment. We'll get him settled in. And a little bit later on, we certainly hope to hear from the Cons as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. How about a chance to graduate from college not only with a diploma, but also prepared to thrive in an exciting, growing field? The Marshall University Sports Journalism program might just be for you. The expansion of cable networks, the rise of sports-centered online platforms, and the continued thirst for local sports coverage makes sports journalism a growth industry with jobs waiting for those who earn this degree. Your passion, curiosity, and charisma, coupled with Marshall University Sports Journalism training, will equip you for success in a multi-billion-dollar global industry. So bring your abilities and the desire to be the eyes, ears, and life of the game to our Huntington campus to learn the art of sports storytelling while covering the Thundering Herd. We will teach you how to go beyond the scores and statistics to tell compelling stories and accurately report breaking news across multiple media platforms. Marshall University's W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications is ready and eager to help you start your sports journalism career. Learn more about the exciting possibilities by visiting marshall.edu/SOJMC. We want you to become part of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Follow us on Twitter. We'll make sure to mention your name tonight. @Hoops_Roundup, @Hoops_Roundup. Tweet us your team's score. Give us your comments on the game. @Hoops_Roundup, @Hoops_Roundup. Big shout out to Brenton Barnhart, Jared Schweitzer, Winfield Boys Basketball. They're now a part of our Twitter family. @hoops_roundup.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
11:19 on the program here on Basketball Friday night in West Virginia as we go through basketball games all across the great state of West Virginia on this unseasonably warm, because it's above freezing right now, Friday night, at least in the greater Huntington area. Of course, again, our program hosted out of the WMUL studios and the television studio within the Marshall University Department of Journalism, School of Journalism, Mass Communications, and certainly appreciate them allowing us the space to disseminate this program to the masses. So there's no excuse for anyone not to be able to listen. And, of course, the 20 great radio stations that have been with us for we continue to add them, obviously, but several have been with us since almost the very beginning of this adventure 5 years ago, and now we reach 1.3 million potential listeners who can just turn on the radio and listen to this program every Friday night for 3 hours. And we hope to help you kind of escape from anything that might be troubling you, because we're here to celebrate basketball. We're here to celebrate high school basketball in West Virginia. It's something that we all enjoy. You know what else I have fun with? I enjoy saying WRRR.
And it's not
because it's such a missed branding opportunity. Sorry, Scott Northcraft. But it's okay, though. Craig Dutton joins us now on the program. He is with 93R Light Rock in St. Mary's. He had the Tyler Consolidated Ritchie County girls game tonight. Craig, you just continue your Mid-Ohio Valley kind of excursion here, right?
Pretty much. I've seen every single girls team now in Region 2 after seeing Ritchie County tonight. Coach David McCullough was hoping, if Rick was there, he's wanting to say hi. He wanted me to say hi to him for him. But I know Rick must have been busy coaching tonight.
Right.
But it's a busy time right now. There's good weather. Let's get these basketball games. So that's about where we're at right now. And Ritchie County tonight was looking to take advantage of this. Both teams came in 5 and 7, and they were just cold, shooting all night. And Tyler Consolidated has much of a 10-point to 11-point lead there, I think, third and fourth period. And then finally, we saw the young ladies in Abby Hott and Cassie Tallman for Ritchie County start to get hot from the guard positions, and they scored every single point in that second half for Ritchie County, all but 2 free throws by sophomore Andrea Kirk. So Ritchie County was in a situation where they came back on Tyler Consolidated, and the Knights were kind of forced into a situation. Then Amanda Reynolds took control, got some shots to go. Final possession for Tyler Consolidated was a missed shot by Josie Jones. Right there, the ball could have gone anywhere, as Coach McCullough was telling me, and it went right into the hands of Jolie Walton. She puts it up off the glass with 1 second left. Clock runs out. Game's over, 59-58 tonight. And that opened discussion for everyone. In Section 2 again, it's an open game. And I think tomorrow's game for Ritchie County at home, if they can come out and get a win over Magnolia, that opens all the discussion again on who's your best team. But still, right now, it's Magnolia. Then it's a mess from 2 to 4. And then you have Payton City between St. Mary's, Tyler, and Ritchie. There's still a lot of games to be played between them. And then, like David Hall said earlier from Mix 100, I was calling the game for Tyler and Williamstown last night. Williamstown, that Region 4 is looking good right now, down south. I feel probably, if not a contender, they're at least going to have someone in the state title game from that Class A Region 4, because everyone's playing great ball south of Parkersburg, down all the way to Tug Valley and that part of Single Way and boys ball.
And Craig, and I'll let Bill jump in with you in a second, but I always enjoy from the outside looking in at a section like that and a region such as that, where I'm not looking at who's a state contender necessarily. I'm looking at a balanced region that anybody can get out of.
It's really unbalanced up here. Here, Section 2 is in a rebuilding process. Tyler is probably your Tyler boys is your most competitive team, and I feel if they want to get out, their best hope is they got to win Section 2 and hope they get Cameron at least. Cameron boys and bring them down to Tyler, which, that would be a better situation for them trying to play Cameron down there instead of having to go play at Wheeling Central. So, which I feel Wheeling Central right now is your best team in girls and boys in Region 1. Is just trying to get the first place and host whoever's going to be back up. And it looks like Cameron girls might even be the other team in the girls section. It might be your number 2 right now in Section 1, Region 1. But like you guys said, it's a very tough season. I've been calling games the last 2 nights. Tomorrow I have PA for the St. Mary's Invitational final day at St. Mary's High School. It's funny, the boys and girls consolation at 1:30, 3:30 is Work County Frontier in both of those games. And then the boys' championship is South Harrison, St. Mary's, and then a good girls matchup with Cameron and St. Mary's at 7:30. So that might tell me a little bit more about where the girls' direction is going.
Craig, Bill Cornwell here. Tyler Consolidated, man, they probably had both a smile and sigh of relief tonight when you look at what they literally had not won a game in a month.
Since Williamstown in December 22nd, you're right. Both teams had losing streaks heading into tonight. Richie had a 3-game skid, and Tyler had a 5-game skid. And Kathy Boggs had a big sigh of relief tonight getting that victory because she feels her girls can do a lot more. She threw in freshmen tonight. She was so worried about throwing a young girl by Eden Turner in there to play Josie Jones' spot. And they had Josie Jones play like it was a very aggressive 3-2 zone, she said. I thought it was a box and 1. But they were playing Cassie Tallman and Hot, guarding them very tightly tonight. And if you got those 2 leaders in trouble, it forced a lot of turnovers trying to throw inside in the post, which you're still very inexperienced for Ritchie County. And that's going to be tough tomorrow because you've got a young post player in Kendra Pilot, Maddie Winters coming in for Magnolia. But it's hard to tell what to expect from that. But you're right. I think Tyler Consolidated is happy with this win tonight. It throws them back in discussion again on the sectional because it was getting worrisome there. They might have dropped even down to 3 or 4 seed. They could even see it as high as 2 now if they get some more wins under their belt.
Craig Dutton, WRRR in St. Mary's. Throat lozenges necessary?
Oh my, plenty of them. I'm going to have to have plenty of them. Yeah. Guys, I'll tell you what, might surprise you next week. I meant to message you, but I think Scott Northcraft and at least myself, we were thinking about maybe swinging by next week to you guys and maybe just seeing how the operations were going.
Hey, come on down. We've made some changes since you were here last.
I know. I really enjoyed that last year. I just enjoy seeing how everything is done with you guys and even Fred upstairs. It's impressive.
Yeah, he was on the air 2 minutes, and he made the
Network West Virginia promo. Yeah, right. Yes, still.
I know. I even talked to them guys after that, and I said, "Did you guys really have to put me on the promo?" And then I laughed about it. They laughed about it too.
What Craig also didn't realize is that when he came in here to visit, we put him to work, like on the spot. That's how
he will be put to work.
That's how we do things around here. Craig, always looking forward. Hey, looking forward to it next week. Yeah, don't bring us anything like that next week. But
no, I will not. I've been lucky all season. I don't want that to happen now.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, look forward to it, Craig.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night.
All right, thanks. You too. That's Craig Dutton, WRRR in St. Mary's. Let's quickly go right back to the phones to Jordan Mounts. He has been, speaking of someone who might need a break. Now, Jordan, have you been doing public address for all these games tonight at the Williamson Fieldhouse?
Actually, guys, the first few games I was doing public address, and then the past 2 games I was doing play-by-play on WXCC 96.5 out of Pikeville. So I've been talking all evening.
And there's even more games tomorrow.
Yes.
And the throat is something you can't just ice down and be ready to go the next day.
You got to get him a Sam's Club size of Ludens or Halls.
Hot tea and lemon. Yeah.
I've kind of been blessed. My mother made me do piano and voice lessons from the time I've been 5 years old.
And this kid's got a cool...
kind of helped me as far as conditioning the throat and conditioning and learning to speak from the chest, so to speak.
Outstanding.
And Jordan, that's all we had for you tonight. Thanks for calling. No, play. We're going to give you some advice on a day full of basketball though at the Williamson Fieldhouse. We talked with Mark Witt about the matchups that were taking place throughout the day today and tomorrow as well. Just tell me from your perspective some of the things you saw, some of the things you took away from today's contest.
Well, guys, it was a great day full of basketball. A lot of good teams came to play today. A lot of West Virginia teams, saw a lot of Kentucky teams that I wasn't familiar with. Already got to see quite a few teams, especially from the local area, Mingo Central, Tug Valley. Let's see, also we've got Logan playing tomorrow. We've got Belfry playing tomorrow, local teams as well. Phelps High School played today. All great games, and it just really shows how much basketball talent is in the area here, not only just in West Virginia, but Eastern Kentucky as well. It's just a great matchup, great tournament, and really brings out a lot of rivalries that a lot of these schools don't get to necessarily play because there is that state line in between the two schools.
Jordan Mounts, who has been working the Hatfield-McCoy shootout in Williamson in a variety of manners, and is always a big part of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Thanks so much for taking the time out to talk with us tonight, and enjoy the games tomorrow.
Absolutely, guys. Good. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
I was going to say, Jordan, he was talking about his mom there. Jordan, in his younger career a couple years ago, helped me do the play-by the color guy that was supposed to help me wasn't available. Fred recommended Jordan Mounts. I was so impressed with this young man because he's still in school, but does a great job on the PA and on radio. You
know what I discovered this summer?
What's that?
He and I have the same allergist. All right. Well, you're just there for the point. It's like, Jordan, how you doing? And for those who aren't aware of the geography of things. Right. Where Jordan lives and where I live aren't anywhere near each other.
No.
So it's a small little world that we live in. We'll step aside, take a break, come back with the power ratings. And our resident referee will be in studio.
Maybe.
A little bit later on, cause time and our poll question. We've got a lot to do and short time to do it. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Every Friday night from 9 to midnight, we're the home for high school basketball in the Mountain State. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Don't forget, you've got till 11:45, 15 more minutes to answer the poll question. The question is, should technical fouls in high school be handled more closely like they are handled in college basketball? Give us your vote, yes or no. Go to basketballnight.com. You'll see the poll question on the right-hand side of the page. You've got till 11:45 tonight. And, of course, we'll share the results with you at the end of the show. Congratulations tonight to Deja Busby, Sherman Lady Tide. She is the latest standout athlete of the week. If you've got someone remarkable on your team, made an outstanding play, did something great in the community, you can nominate your team's players to become the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week, we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com. Click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the nomination form. We'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Also, we want you to send pictures to us. If you're watching right now, all those pics sent in to us from fans, teams, coaches, proud parents. Send them to us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, at @hoops_roundup. Shout out to some of our newest followers this week. West Virginia Blue Gold Little Shots, David Sharp, Lisa Sharp, and Todd Ryan.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
And Marcus Constantino, right? all of the above and Marcus Constantino as we are back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We'll get you a full scoreboard in a moment. But first, we want to check on the power ratings, and Marcus is here with them.
And we've got some shakeups in the power ratings this time around. The basketballnight.com power ratings. You can check them out, of course, online at basketballnight.com. Starting in AAA. Boys AAA, Parkersburg South hanging in at number 1 with a 9-1 record. University is 9-0. They move up one spot to number 2. Woodrow Wilson Falls won. They're 8-1 at number 3. The Capital Cougars go up one spot to number 4, and Huntington is 5-3. They move up one into the number 5 spot. Moving on into boys AA. Fairmont Seniors 11-0 at number 1. Chapmanville hanging in at number 2. Bluefield is 7-2. They move up one to number 3. Oak Hill drops one. They're 8-0 at number 4. Bridgeport jumps up 4 spots. They're 9-2. Indians are at number 5. On to boys single A, basketballnight.com. Boys power ratings. Willing Central Catholic moves up one spot to number 1. The Maroon Knights are 9-1. The Ravenswood Red Devils drop one spot. They're 10-0 and number 2. Valley Fayette. The Greyhounds are 7-0 at number 3. Tug Valley moves up one. They're 5-3 at number 4. Notre Dame also moving up one. They're 6-3 and at number 5. Moving on to the girls basketballnight.com girls power ratings. The Greenbrier East is 10-0. They're number 1. Buchanan Upshur is 12-1 at number 2. Parkersburg is 9-2 at number 3. Cabell Midland is 11-2 and number 4. And Spring Valley moving into the top 5. They're at 7-3. On to girls AA. Shake up here with North Marion moving into the number 1 spot. They're 10-1. Wyoming East drops one to number 2. The Lady Warriors are 8-1 on the season. Fairmont Senior hanging in at number 3. Sissonville at number 4. And the Wayne Pioneers at number 5. On to the girls single A. BasketballNet.com power ratings. Tucker County is 10-0 at number 1. St. Joe 7-5 is number 2. Parkersburg Catholic is 13-0 at number 3. Willing Central Catholic is 12-1 at number 4. Cameron Dragons are 12-1, and that's good for number 5. And that's the BasketballNight.com power ratings. You can see all 124 teams over at BasketballNight.com.
Thank you very much, Marcus. And instead of a full scoreboard, because there are just so many games, Joe, I'll ask you now while we have a chance. Any scores that have stuck out to you at this point?
That Lincoln County game we talked about earlier. I mean, big surprise there. It was a high-scoring game, even though it went to double overtime. A lot of close scores tonight. Winfield played Logan very tight, even though it ended up being about a 10-point game. Winfield was in that game right down to, within just about 3 minutes to go in the game. And Nitro played Chapmanville very well tonight. And, of course, that game kind of spread out there in the end as well.
I need to dish out a technical foul right now.
Oh, no.
I need to get what is one thing you learn in television or video-related media? Don't walk in front of the camera. Bo?
I was going to say.
You walked directly in front of
I did.
I'll give you a hard time. Yep, so you get a technical. I've been waiting for 5 years to do that. And finally I had an opportunity. Our resident referee, Bo Anderson, is literally our resident referee tonight. He is in studio with us tonight. Fortunately, Bo had a local game, so he was in the area. He was able to come in and join us in studio tonight. And Bo, sometimes if you just open the floor to anything that you've come across here the past week or so that maybe isn't something that you would see every day.
Well, not really. I mean, things have just kind of been going around, along usual. I've had several overtime games and, a lot of close games, including the game I had tonight. Nothing stands out, major. There's still a misunderstanding, and it doesn't have anything to do, it has to do with the rules, with the official bookkeeper wearing the striped shirt. Now, we're in the second year or the third year of this, and I still have to get people to put their shirts on, and they say, we haven't had to do it, and they don't understand that wearing the striped shirt is not optional. It's mandatory. It's a rule. And I don't know, the only thing that I've talked to some people about and figured out is that I think a way to get the striped shirt on the scorekeeper is if we have a technical foul and that is charged to that team. And I bet you if we shot a couple of shots a couple of times, everybody get their striped shirt on.
There will be a coach just like, you put it on now.
Yes.
I've seen some officials actually allow the official scorekeepers to lay the shirt in front of the scores table in front of them. And that I blame on the officials.
Yeah, that's got to be worn. And I tell you what, our crew has done, my individual crew, we have got, we went out and bought from our own money a penny, a striped shirt penny that anybody can wear. And we bring that to us at every game. And if they say, well, we don't have our striped shirt or we can't find it, we got one for you. We'll be right back. So, we're kind of trying to cure that. But everybody needs to understand that is the rule. You must have your striped shirt on. And they don't understand that it gets us in trouble if they're not wearing it, because it's our job to make sure it's done. And, the head offices of the states that I work for, they could take games away. They could not have you for tournaments. There's a lot of things that can happen. And we're not really the bad guys. We're just enforcing the rules like we try to do on the floor.
Well, unfortunately, with the week that we've had from a weather standpoint, many games postponed. I ask you as an official, it's one thing to just get the two teams on the same night to play. Somebody has to officiate the game.
Oh, yeah. You're very fortunate whenever you're having this kind of bad weather to get the same crew that you've had. I've got one that is being made up, and I'm actually going to be able to do it. Some not so lucky. I'm telling you, I'm looking at my emails every 5 minutes because the assigners are looking at any open date and saying, hey, he's open on that date. There's your game. And so you got to get on there and accept it. So every time my phone dings, I say, uh-oh, it may be some type of situation. And I've got an odd one tomorrow where I'm actually the assigners work together, and we actually have switched games tomorrow from one game that I was going to do to another for a certain reason of the other official, and so we're working a different game than we're going to. But it's a nightmare. It's a scheduling nightmare, and you struggle to get them all in. And it makes it very tough. And the last thing people think about is the officiating, and I mean, even though I am one, if you don't have officials out on the court, it's going to be hard to have a game.
And I'll ask you this, too, from that standpoint of cohesiveness. Officials are individuals in terms of you don't have a set team of officials that go call games together all the time. You've been around long enough, though, that you've worked with many of them before. But how long does it take to get comfortable with your other fellow officials on the floor?
Well, this is my 35th year, so most of the guys I know. There's not hardly anybody that I don't work with that I don't know. And I normally, about 90% of my games I work with the same crew. But I know most of the guys. Now, there's a few new ones that come into the bunch, and, you got to talk to them before the game, and we got to make sure we're on the same page. And, then there's always some, people that have not worked at that level some guys are even having to work a few games at that level because there's nobody else to work them. And I encourage, if anybody out there wants to become a basketball official, I encourage you to come and take our class or the class in your area, because we really need some more people, and this is a prime example of that.
And especially this time of year. Our resident referee, Bo Anderson, we thank you for coming in studio with us tonight. We appreciate what you provide to this program every week.
Hey, I really enjoy it. I would have been in the car listening to it or at home listening to it, and I listen to it, as much as I can, and I enjoy doing it, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, this is one way to not be on hold forever. That's Bo Anderson, our resident referee. We'll step aside, take our final break. We'll come back with our poll question, cause time, and wrap things up here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Streaming video live from the studios at Marshall University. Visit basketballnight.com for video, audio, and the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. Special thanks to all of our affiliates. Suddenlinks Network West Virginia statewide. And of course, we're on cable in the Huntington region on Comcast Channel 25. RSN Sports on their Facebook page. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including 103.7 Jack FM, WQWV in Fisher, the Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM, WKKX in Wheeling, 1370 AM, WVLY Moundsville, Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel, Singing News Radio 92.5 FM, WTHM LP Ravenswood Ripley, Knights Radio 91.5 FM, WRSG Middleburn, Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg 740 AM, 106.5 FM, Classic Hits 106 WHFI Linside 106.7 FM, 95 The Sports Fox, WBES Charleston 950 AM, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM, WVOW in Logan, Light Rock 93R, WRRR, St. Mary's 93.9 FM. The Ticket, 102.3 FM, WMTD in Hinton, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZLP, Edmond, Beckley, and 101.7 FM, WYAP-LP in Clay, and Marshall University's flagship station, 88.1 FM, WMUL in Huntington. Thank you for joining us on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Go to basketballnight.com. Find all the ways to interact with the show next week.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
It is 11:46 on the program. We've let our resident referee, Bo Anderson, stick around for this segment as well as we get ready to wrap things up here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Once again, I'm Ryan Epling alongside Bill Cornwell. Bo Anderson is with us as well. Joe Linville is in the studio with us, and joining us now is Kyle Powers. Kyle has our basketballnight.com poll question.
I do. So I'm going to repeat from last week's poll question. Should technical fouls in high school be handled more closely than they are handled in college basketball? 62% said yes, and 38% of the voters said no.
Now, what that question was really encompassing was in college basketball, you go to where the stoppage in play was, and then you resume play after the technical foul, whereas in high school, if you are assessed a technical, the other team gets the ball.
Okay. So this week's going to be, should high school basketball adopt women's college basketball rules for shooting 2 shots after the 5th foul in a quarter and resetting team fouls each quarter? If you want to cast your vote, head on over to basketballnight.com to do that. And it will be up till next week at 11:45 p.m., if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Kyle. You stay right there for right now. We'll get you out of here in a moment. But first off, Bill, with that poll question, women's college basketball adopted that team fouls and free throws, and maybe you do it at 4 because of the length of quarters for high school. But it seems to make the games flow better.
It does make the flow a bit better, and of course, it kind of takes occasionally a tough decision out of the officials' hands. Was it in the act shooting? Was it not act shooting? You don't have to worry about it. You just go up and then you just shoot the 2.
And of course, Bo, that would be another big drastic change for you guys if that were. And there's not even. I don't know if there's any talk of this, but sometimes things do filter down.
Well, it was mentioned in a little questionnaire that you voted on before, but I'm not big into making a lot of changes. It's hard enough for the teams to get used to what we're doing now. I like it at 7 and 1 and 1, 2 on the 10th. And I that's just my preference. I'm sure there's other opinions, but I like to keep things pretty much the way they are because it's tough enough with all the rules that we have.
Yeah, and to me, the lack of uniformity between college and high school rules, and I understand why many of them are different, but I would just like to see some aspects of them be a little bit more close, because the games are just played completely different at this point, and that's fine, but that's just personal opinion. There are certain things that you can look at each other and pick out best practices, so to speak.
Well, we have had a few changes that has kind of filtered down from the college level in the past. The 7 and 10 was actually started in the college level. Speaking of mechanics, our 3-man switching started at the college level. And there are several things that we have molded a little bit out of, but high school basketball is not college basketball, and the rules are not the same. And the high school teams have to go with what they have as opposed to college doing all their recruiting. So some of our rules are geared towards the kids' abilities to be able to do what they can do.
Absolutely. And right now, let's go back to the phones. One of our favorite times of the program. We actually like all the programs, so it's not like we have one designated favorite time. But
we finish up with.
We always appreciate from the Martinsburg Journal joining us now on the program, Rick Kozlowski. It is Cause time.
He is West Virginia's most interesting man.
And this is always the signal, guys. The weekend is here when it's cause time.
Absolutely.
It truly is here.
Rick, welcome to the program.
That's because. Did you get that? Because.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. Because unlike certain legislative people who are ready to shut down the government, I always shut down this show.
Well, you do. That is true.
You bring it to a halt.
All right, now we have about 8 minutes.
I'm the original, baby.
That's right. You've been on this program since just about the very beginning. And, we've got a rare opportunity here where we have our resident referee, Bo Anderson, in studio. So, Rick, if you want to light him up, go ahead.
I think he's afraid he might get ejected.
You ever thought? I might have a technical question.
I'm ready.
But I could talk officiating with Bo. I used to officiate.
See, there you go. It's a small little world out there. And
well, Kaz and I have had some pretty good conversations since started meeting him whenever I saw him at the state tournament a couple years ago when I was working it. And so we've got to talk a little bit about refereeing and about the game, and have enjoyed my time talking with Kaz about when he refereed and what things are like now. And it's a little different.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know, Bo, are you strictly doing high school games, or do you do some other things? Because I wonder how difficult it is, when you were talking earlier about the different rules at different levels of play between the men and women, the college. How do you keep that stuff straight if you're an official who's doing, games every night of the week and not necessarily all at the same level?
Well, some guys do, and I have done that in the past, and now I just do high school games, but I did have to keep up with both. There's a lot of differences now. At one time, there wasn't as many differences, guys, but now there's a lot. So the guys that do both, it's very difficult for them. And the other tough thing that's difficult is the fans see the things on TV for college and think, hey, that's the way it is in high school too, and they're totally wrong.
Well, you know that no matter what call you make, 50% of the people are going to be happy with you, and the other 50% think you're the worst man in stripes that ever existed.
Well, sometimes in my case, it might be 100% that don't like me. I don't know. That's all a possibility. But you just have to go out and do your game, and I just work my game as usual, and they either like it or they don't. That's just the way the ball bounces.
Now, I do want to interject here because we do want to talk about Musselman and Martinsburg, but in a moment, I want to ask Bo this question quickly, and Rick can answer this as well. Have you ever had to kick a journalist out of a game?
No, I haven't had to go that far. We've had a couple of close calls with clock keepers and bookkeepers that decided that they wanted to be cheering for their teams instead of being like we are, impartial. And that becomes tough a couple of times. But no journalist. No, I haven't had that, and hope I never do.
Rick, did you ever have to kick one out when you were in officiating?
No one ever. No, I don't think there were ever a journalist at any of the games like officiated.
Have you ever been kicked out of a game?
No, I've never been kicked out of a game. No, I can tell you though, there have been times when I would have loved to have ejected some fans.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree with that. I know officials aren't supposed to have rabbit ears, aren't supposed to hear the stuff going on, but sometimes it happens. I remember one time I was officiating a game, and team was pressing in the backcourt, and kid was in the opposite lane, and this woman is screaming at me, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds. He's in the lane. And so the ball goes out of bounds, right near where she is sitting, fortunately for me. So she's yelling again, why don't you call 3 seconds? So I turned around, looked at her, said, if he's in the lane on the other end of the floor, I'll call 3 seconds down there. Up here, he's all right. Her mouth dropped wide open, and I think I was last we heard of her for a season.
Hey, Rick, I would have told her that's on page 1500 of the fans manual is where that belongs at.
I like that.
All right, Rick, big win tonight for Musselman as they defeat Martinsburg by double figures at home.
I was kind of following that game via Twitter because, as I mentioned last week, I kind of had a commitment to my wife, being this was our 33rd wedding anniversary.
Hey, congratulations.
And congratulations, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys.
And spending it with us.
And I was, yeah. Anyway.
Kept us life in perspective there real quick, didn't we?
I was a little bit stunned to see that score, but Musselman there's something going on with that team that I think it's one of those intangible kinds of things. It's basically a whole new team outside of Jake Stevens, who was signed to play at Virginia Military, 6'9" inside player, but it's basically a whole new team from last year. And lots of unknown people, and they have played, I think, like 5 games where they have won by 1 point or gone into overtime. Well, that's a character kind of, and they've done it a lot of times on the road as well. So certainly they've been in some difficult situations, and I think that builds confidence, and they're just carrying through with it. I know last week when I saw them play Hedgesville, Jake was kind of held in check, but there was a kid whose name, Cameron Williams, I'm not sure anybody knew who he was. He comes away with 20 points, played a fantastic game, and I'm looking at this team thinking, there's something special about them. It's just kind of one of those chemistry things, the things you can't necessarily look at statistically, just statistically. It's, sometimes it's not necessarily the team that has the most talent, but how they get together, how they get along, and how they play together.
Rick Kozlowski of the Martinsburg Journal. Always a pleasure, Rick.
As it is for me.
And once again, happy anniversary to you as well. 33 years. Congratulations on that. And then, guys, we're going to have to wrap things up here. Bill, your final thoughts from tonight?
It's been actually a busy and a fast-going 3 hours, and hopefully the weather is broken and we're not going to worry anymore about these delays, and we're going to get back on schedule and just enjoy some basketball.
Joe?
Basketball moves on. We got the West Virginia Hometown Invitational kicked off this weekend. You got the Hatfield-McCoy tournament that finishes up tomorrow. A lot of great games. Get out, support your local high school teams.
We want to thank Coach Tom Walmsley of the Tigers Valley boys basketball team. He's also the vice president of the West Virginia Hometown Invitational. Kind enough to send us this program for the Hometown Invitational tournament, as we certainly do appreciate being involved in helping to spread the word on that. That'll do it for this edition of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. For Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, for Marcus Constantino, Kyle Powers, Luke Creasy, Bo Anderson, and the entire crew behind the scenes, I'm Ryan Epling. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Tune in next Friday for the latest high school basketball action from across the Mountain State. Visit basketballnight.com for our show archives, the poll question of the week, and the basketballnight.com scoreboard. Until next time, have a great weekend, and thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The preceding broadcast was a presentation of the Fast Break Sports Network. Copyright 2017. All rights